Chapter 1012, Incident. Chapter 1012, Incident. In a grand hall, many experts of the Black Python clan gathered together. Everyone looked quite excited. We've finally come to this day after preparing for so long. The leader of the Black Python clan was an insidious man with a little black snake coiling on his shoulder. He looked around with ice-cold eyes like vipers and said, "We are going to do it today, follow everything by the plan. This time, we must make them pay a heavy price and leave them to go to the dogs." Yes. One after another, the experts of the Black Python clan around him nodded excitedly. After fighting against each other for so many years in this territory, the enmity between the Black Python clan and the Rock Demon clan had long gone into a situation in which they would fight to the death. The two populations would trample the other side underfoot downright without hesitation given a chance. And this time, for the Black Python clan, it was definitely a now or never chance. "Master D Yen, later when God Hong shows up, I will have to bother you to deal with him." The insidious man looked towards a black-robed elder sitting next to him and said with a hint of modesty. On hearing this, the black-robed elder raised his head slightly and unfolded his skinny old face. Black mysterious cracks could be seen all over one of his cheeks. If Jian Wushuang was there, would have recognized him at a glance. The black-robed elder was Di Yan, the expert from the Sky-Devouring clan who worked with Jin Yu to ambush Dragon Wing Governor and him outside of Jin Yu's castle back then. Di Yan came from the bloodline of the Sky-Devouring clan and liked to devour the essence blood of all kinds of exotic beasts. He once had his eye on Dragon Wing Governor. However, he had to give up because Jian Wushuang got in his way. After that, he traveled along and happened to come to this territory as well. Then he accepted the invitation from the experts of the Black Python clan and came to help them defeat the Rock Demon clan. The Rock Demon clan has been known for powerful body defensive ability. God Hong had awakened a part of the bloodline and reached the level of rank 3 Dao Master. Even I am not totally sure that I could kill him for good, but I could manage to wound him badly. The black-robed elder Di Yan said. It will be enough as long as you can inflict serious injuries on him and hold down his battle strength for a short while. If the plan works, the overall strength of the Rock Demon clan will be severely cut down, and God Hong will also be unable to use his strength. Then our Black Python clan could unite the experts to wipe out the whole Rock Demon clan. The insidious man said in a low voice. In this way, the Black Python clan should be the only advanced population over the territory ever after. Di Yan laughed and said. "Ha, I still have to bother you to help us achieve that, Master Di Yan." The insidious man laughed along and said. Soon the experts of the Black Python set off. In the rift of the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Buzz, buzz. The whole rift was full of sword essence. Yet Jian Wushuang, who was in the very center of sword essence, stopped and slowly put back his sword. After digging for so many years, I finally completed this move. Jian Wushuang said with a delightful face. Jian Wushuang, the talent you have got on sword principle is undoubtedly marvelous. You can create such a weird swordsmanship. Gu King spoke to his mind. Your sword principles are just at the common level, but the move you created is tremendous. Even those experts who have created sword principle at the universe level won't necessarily be capable of working it out. I have to thank Sunrise Sword Emperor for leaving these 9 sword scars. Besides, I am also grateful to Master Ku, who guided me at the beginning. Jian Wushuang laughed and said. After Jian Wushuang created the second sword principle of his own named Swordplay of Aurora, he spent 8 years digging into swordsmanship. By now, he had finally made a great achievement on swordsmanship and fulfilled his goal. While this original body of mine was indulged in the study of swordsmanship, the other one has been meditating on the connotation of the strongest sword principle. Thus I have come to some understandings in which I feel that I am quite close to creating my third sword principle. Jian Wushuang smiled and said. People would surely be deeply shocked if they were told about someone who had created 2 sword principles successively in just a few decades and was about to create the third one. After all, sword principles were unimaginably profound. There was no way they could be created at will. But Jian Wushuang was different. He got a great gift in sword principle along with many treasures and opportunities that facilitated him. Most important of all, he had the strongest sword heart. The rule that the strongest sword heart must be metamorphosized from the strongest sword soul played an essential role in the meditation on sword principles. In comparison to other warriors of sword principles, Jian Wushuang got a much greater innate advantage. Even Gu Qing said that Jian Wushuang should at least create one of the strongest sword principles before he became a Dao master. Yet how many cultivators of sword principle would dare to set their goal to achieve the strongest sword principle in the whole green fire world? But for Jian Wushuang, who had the strongest sword heart, achieving the strongest sword principle was merely a starting point. Jian Wushuang was murmuring, but suddenly, boom! A dreadful roar came down from the distant void with a rush, carrying a horrible aftermath that spread to the whole Rock Demon clan. Ha ha! From today on, the Rock Demon clan will no longer exist on the Samsara continent. A loud and cold laughter came through the air like a heavy thunder, echoing in the entire residence of the Rock Demon clan. In an instant, the whole Rock Demon clan was startled. Whoosh! 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 Numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan rushed towards the residence of the Rock Demon clan with astonishment and anger on their face. What happened? Jian Wushuang glided to the void above the rift. Overlooking to the distant void, he could see the edge of his vision where several grand auras were approaching slowly. There were 8 auras in total, and all of them belonged to the real experts at Dao Master level. And most importantly, the 8 Dao Masters all came with tremendous killing intent. Apparently, they were not from the Rock Demon clan. What happened? Jian Wushuang said doubtfully. Master Wushuang, Master Wushuang. As there came an anxious voice, Qing Bin glided to Jian Wushuang hurriedly. Qing Bin, what happened? Why would there be some people directly intruding the residence of the Rock Demon clan? Jian Wushuang frowned and asked. With 10 Dao Masters, led by God Hong who was a rank 3 Dao Master, the Rock Demon clan was some way an advanced population. Within this territory, no one dared to mess with them except for the Black Python clan. Although the strength of the Black Python clan was slightly greater and the fight between the two populations was a bit crazy, the Black Python clan wouldn't dare to assault the city of the Rock Demon clan if there was no specific treasure that they coveted so much. Something happened. Something serious happened. Qing Bin growled in a low voice, and his eyes turned red. He said, the Black Python clan set us up. A medium population was bribed by them and joined their conspiracy. 4 elders of US who went out for business all fell today. Chapter 1013, Death Shadow. Chapter 1013, Death Shadow. What? Jian Wushuang asked, unable to hold back his surprise. As an advanced population, the Rock Demon clan included not a few experts. Generally, the elders of the clan were Dao Master experts. 4 elders had fallen. It meant that 4 Dao Masters had fallen. There were just 10 Dao Masters in the whole Rock Demon clan. Even more, Brother Hong was beaten up by them. Qing Bin said urgently, I don't know how the Black Python clan called in an expert. He suddenly showed up and severely injured Brother Hong during the head-on fight between Brother Hong and the leader of the Black Python clan. If it were not for Brother Hong's incredible skill in defense, he would probably have got killed. Even God Hong got severely injured. Jian Wushuang said, squinting slightly. Including God Hong, there were just 10 Dao Masters in total in the Rock Demon clan. Now 4 of them had fallen at a time and even God Hong got severely injured, making the battle strength of the high-level leaders of the Rock Demon clan sank to a low level. Not surprisingly, the experts of the Black Python clan dared to directly intrude into the city of the Rock Demon clan. Master Wushuang, Brother Hong told me to ask you to leave immediately. Qing Bin said, after all, you don't belong here. You are not supposed to engage in the collision between our Rock Demon clan and the Black Python clan. So just get out of here. No need to leave immediately. Jian Wushuang shook his head while gazing at the 8 Dao masters of the Black Python clan in the distance. He could sense the monstrous killing intent from them. He said, the Black Python clan have fought with the Rock Demon clan for so many years. They finally got such a great opportunity, so they won't give you a break. Not surprisingly, the Black Python clan must have sent out all the experts today. The Rock Demon clan is in danger. Jian Wushuang, what do you intend to do? He heard Gu Qing's voice. I'm indebted to God Hong. Besides, during these years, I got a lot of help from the Rock Demon clan. They did me such a great favor, so I should do something for them in return. Jian Wushuang said with a smile. You want to help them? Gu Qing said apathetically. You tell me. Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile, while Blood Mountain sword appeared in his hand. Master Wushuang, what are you doing? Qing Bin stared at Jian Wushuang with amazement and said. Qing Bin, just stand here and watch. Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile, then flying forward. Jian Wushuang flew across the void with ease like a ghost and soon got to the battlefield ahead. At this moment, the two populations were in an intense battle. Led by the 8 Dao masters, numerous experts of the Black Python clan had directly intruded into the city of the Rock Demon clan. Numerous clansmen of the Rock Demon clan struggled to fight back. However, the battle strength of the high-level leaders of the Rock Demon clan was considerably inferior to that of the Black Python clan. Although the left Dao masters of the Rock Demon clan joined the fight, they were soon beaten back by the 8 Dao masters of the Black Python clan. No one could stop the 8 Dao masters of the Black Python clan. Ha! Kill them all. Our Black Python clan is the unchallenged leader of this territory from today. The Rock Demon clan, after all these years of fight, today is the extermination day of your clan. Angry roars and loud laughs reverberated between heaven and earth. Led by the 8 Dao masters, the experts of the Black Python clan killed wantonly in the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Meanwhile, the Rock Demon clan was barely capable of fighting back. At this moment, Jian Wushuang showed up in the midmost battlefield like a ghost as well as in front of the 8 Dao masters of the Black Python clan. All the 8 Dao masters saw, but they didn't pay much attention. Where does the brat come from? Get the hell out of here. A bald man waved his robe, and instantly there came a blast of power which formed a sharp sword shadow. It came towards Jian Wushuang's head. Jian Wushuang stood there indifferently with the corners of his mouth lifted to a special arc and his eyes fixed on Blood Mountain sword in his hand. I've just created this swordsmanship and never displayed it in the presence of anyone. Today I should try its power on you 8 Dao masters, Jian Wushuang murmured. Without any big movement, he just waved his sword casually. It was just a casual swipe which looked like a child's swipe. However, just as he waved Blood Mountain sword, a burst of horrified sword essence exploded at the moment. A sharp sword shadow was unleashed directly. Fast, it was so fast. It was definitely several times faster than any swordsmanships that Jian Wushuang had displayed before. At first, the 8 Dao masters in front of Jian Wushuang didn't take Jian Wushuang seriously, because he was just at Eternal Realm level. But when they saw this sharp sword shadow unleashed, they showed a trace of astonishment in their eyes. While they saw the sword shadow, a strange power directly overwhelmed them. At this moment, as their consciousness fell into a temporary pause, they were dumbfounded like a fool. Swish! After a low hum, peace was restored and the sharp sword shadow had vanished. Jian Wushuang stood in the void, slowly returning Blood Mountain sword to the sheath. Watching the 8 Dao masters standing there still, he said with a faint smile, I should thank Master Ku for inspiring me so that I could create this swordsmanship. Master Ku was one of the 18 masters of the Void Temple. Jian Wushuang used to have a fight with Master Ku outside of the imperial city of Tang of the East. Jian Wushuang still vividly remembered Master Ku's most powerful move. The move was stunning and incredibly fast. The most important thing was that the move contained consciousness attack as well. The saber technique and consciousness attack combined perfectly. The move shocked Jian Wushuang so much that it constantly crossed his mind when he tried to create a matching swordsmanship for Aurora Sword Principle during the past years. Thus, he intended to combine consciousness attack with his swordsmanship perfectly. After all, he was rather adept in consciousness attack. Through several years of study, he finally created this swordsmanship that had the speed of the Aurora Sword Principle and the consciousness attack. This move was incredibly fast. Meanwhile, the consciousness attack included in the swordsmanship was perfectly displayed after being greatly improved by the swordsmanship. It was even much more powerful than mind-controlling secret skill displayed by Jian Wushuang with all his strength. What was more, mind-controlling secret skill needed to be displayed by Jian Wushuang in a painstaking and complicated way. The sweeping consciousness attack could be easily noticed. Nevertheless, the consciousness attack included in the swordsmanship really came quietly without a sign, which created this extremely weird but incredibly fast move. This move is named Death Shadow. Jian Wushuang murmured. As he finished his words, the 8 Dao masters who hovered in the void ahead of him fell feebly one after another. 8 figures fell at the same time. This scene made the whole battlefield fall silent. Chapter 10:14, A Move. Chapter 10:14, A Move. In a hall in the deepest part of the territory of the Rock Demon clan. Third Elder, how is the preparation going? God Hong asked, sitting on a throne. He looked very pale, and his eyes were bloodshot. The elder experts of the Rock Demon clan were gathering at the bottom of the hall. 100 talented young clansmen have assembled. They can set off at any moment. The third elder of the Rock Demon clan, the only Dao master expert in the hall besides God Hong, said with a trace of misery. The Rock Demon clan ran into an unprecedented crisis. Except for God Hong and him, the other Dao masters were struggling to resist the attack of the Black Python clan. Meanwhile, they gathered in the hall, trying to leave a batch of descendants for the Rock Demon clan. God Hong, our Rock Demon clan was really in such a plight. An old lady with a dragon staff in hand asked in a deep voice. With a shudder of his huge body, God Hong said seriously, we are trapped by the Black Python clan and suffered a great loss of the high-level battle strength. Even I'm seriously injured. There is less than 30% of our battle strength left. What's worse, the Black Python clan has called in a Dao master expert at the peak level of rank 3 to help them. Although the overall strength of our clan is almost equal to that of the Black Python clan, we are unable to resist them with the huge gap between the battle strength of our high-level leaders and that of theirs. It's impossible that the Black Python clan will spare our clan. We are almost doomed. God Hong gripped his hands tightly and said while trembling physically and mentally. Doomed. It was such a simple word, but enough to drive the Rock Demon clan mad. God Hong raised his head again, and his eyes reddened. He said, our Rock Demon clan can be destructed and completely vanish in Samsara continent. Nevertheless, the bloodline of our Rock Demon clan that has been passed on for long years can't be cut off today. Third Elder, later other elders and I will think of a way to distract those experts of the Black Python clan. Then you should seek an opportunity to lead the 100 talented young clansmen to leave this territory. From now on, all of you should conceal your identities and never reveal you're from the Rock Demon clan to anyone. Besides, later other elders and I will fight to the death, but numerous clansmen don't need to do so. Tell them to get away as much as possible. The more of them get away, the more descendants of our Rock Demon clan can survive. Got it? God Hong's voice reverberated around the entire hall. In the hall, all experts of the Rock Demon clan took death calmly with a resolute expression. Quite a few of them even looked insane. It was the genocide battle of the Rock Demon clan. They were high-level experts of the Rock Demon clan. Besides, Third Elder got his necessary task, the rest of them would definitely fight to the death and stay with their population. However, just at this moment, Big Brother Hong, Big Brother Hong. With an anxious voice, someone rushed into the hall in haste. It was Qing Bin. What's the matter? They failed to block the enemies? God Hong asked, suddenly gripping his hands. No, it's not about it. It's Wushuang, Master Wushuang. Qing Bin apparently came here in great haste, so he failed to say it clearly due to shortness of breath. Jian Wushuang. Didn't I tell you to lead him away at once? God Hong said in a deep voice. No, Master Wushuang didn't leave. Instead, he joined the fight and directly killed the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan. Qing Bin finally calmed down and said. What? All the people in the hall including God Hong were dumbfounded. They couldn't believe their ears at first. Jian Wushuang killed the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan? Qing Bin, what did you just say? God Hong repeated anxiously. Master Wushuang joined the fight and directly killed the 8 Dao Masters who intruded the residence of our Rock Demon clan. What's more, Master Wushuang did it with just a move. Qing Bin said seriously. This time everyone heard him clearly. But after hearing it clearly, they were panic-stricken and sick at heart. Jian Wushuang was the young man who had been a guest in the city of the Rock Demon clan and meditated upon the 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor in the rift during the past years. Did he kill the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan? What was more, he did it with just a move. Are you kidding me? Third Elder was the first to exclaim. We shouldn't blame him. After all, it was unusual in every respect. They were Dao Master experts, not just some cabbages on the street. They couldn't be killed so easily. After all, as a top expert, each Dao Master had his own trump card. They couldn't be killed easily. Even if all of the 8 Dao Master of the Black Python clan were the most common rank 1 Dao Masters, it still needed extraordinary skill and strength to kill them with just a move. At least, no one from their Rock Demon clan possessed this strength. Furthermore, the Dao Masters of the Black Python clan were generally at a high level. Among the 8 Dao Masters who had been killed, there were 5 rank 2 Dao Masters and only 3 rank 1 Dao Masters. It would be even harder to kill 8 Dao Masters like them at the same time with just a move. But now Qing Bin told them that Jian Wushuang, who was just at Eternal Realm level, killed the 8 Dao Masters with just a move. Could it be possible? Qing Bin, are you sure that he killed them with just one strike? God Hong asked in astonishment. I'm positive. Many of our clansmen witnessed that. The bodies of the 8 Dao Masters of the Black Python clan still lie under Master Wushuang's feet. Brother Hong, we can go there and have a look if you'd like to. Qing Bin quickly replied. Let's go there and have a look. Without thinking about something else, God Hong instantly rushed out of the hall and directly headed for the battlefield at the forefront. The high-level experts of the Rock Demon clan naturally followed him. Soon, they showed up around the battlefield and saw what was happening in front of them. In the vast void, more than 1 million clansmen of the Rock Demon clan and the Black Python clan gathered there. With so many people around, it should be extremely noisy. However, at this moment, they were horribly quiet in this void. There was total silence without any noise. It was like the entire space and time were frozen. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the scarlet-robed man with a long sword on his back in the very center of the void. The scarlet-robed man had a faint smile on his face. Under his feet, there were 8 bodies. Although they were dead, they still wore terrified expressions and auras of Dao Masters. There was an extremely clear sword scar respectively at every corpse's neck. Both the shape and the cut of the sword's scar looked exactly the same. Obviously, someone killed the 8 people at the same time with just a move. Just a move. Chapter 10:15, You Again. Chapter 10:15, You Again. So it's true. God Hong said in astonishment. Those experts who followed him here also looked stunned. When first hearing the news from Qing Bin, they seriously doubted it. But now they had to believe what they saw. Indeed, Jian Wushuang killed the 8 Dao masters of the Black Python clan with just a move. How did he do that? God Hong couldn't help thinking. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang, who had been the focus between heaven and earth, suddenly raised his head. In the distance, he saw several figures fly towards him and appeared in front of him instantly. Certainly, they were the clan leader and the remaining Dao masters of the Black Python clan. The overall strength of the Black Python clan was much better than that of the Rock Demon clan. Certainly, the Black Python clan included more Dao masters. Except the 8 killed by Jian Wushuang, there were still 6 left. Damn it! The leader of the Black Python clan was the insidious man with a small black snake on his shoulder. Watching the 8 bodies on the ground, he looked extremely sullen, shaking violently. There were 8 Dao masters. Their Black Python clan had only 14 Dao masters in total. Now more than half of them had been killed by Jian Wushuang. Naturally, the insidious man felt so distressed. Nevertheless, regardless of his distress, he witnessed Jian Wushuang's great strength. He had watched the fight in the void not far away. His original plan was that the 8 Dao masters led numerous experts of the Black Python clan to fight their way to the city of the Rock Demon clan. Then, he and other Dao masters awaited the badly hurt God Hong. Finally, they would immediately kill him the moment he showed up. However, no one had expected that a sword principle expert just at Eternal Realm level showed up and killed all the 8 Dao masters before God Hong showed up. Jian Wushuang's move also shocked him tremendously. It was so fast. It was so fast that there was not enough time for him to rescue them. Where does the brat come from? When did the Rock Demon clan have such an incredible expert at Eternal Realm level? The insidious man fixed his eyes on Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang glanced up at him as well, but soon his eyes rested on a black-robed elder. Well, I didn't expect that I would meet an acquaintance. We are really enemies on a narrow road. Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice. Kid, you again. The black-robed elder also raised his head. He glanced at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. Jian Wushuang immediately recognized the black-robed elder was the expert from the Sky-Devouring clan. The elder and Jin Yu joined force to ambush Dragon Wing Governor and him. Likewise, the black-robed elder Di Yan also recognized Jian Wushuang. So you are the expert who helps the Black Python clan? Jian Wushuang asked with a faint smile. That's right. Di Yan nodded and said in a cold voice, Brat, you stopped me from killing Dragon Wing Governor before. Today I'm going to help the Black Python clan exterminate the Rock Demon clan, and you're going to spoil my plan again? You seem to have a problem with me, right? I was indebted to the Rock Demon clan. If you are going to kill them, I have no choice but to fight with you. Jian Wushuang said coolly. Di Yan's face suddenly darkened. Master Di Yan, that's enough. Just kill him. The insidious man beside him urged in a cold voice. Shut up. Glancing at the insidious man, Di Yan snapped in a deep voice. You think it's so easy to kill this brat? Di Yan had gone through Jian Wushuang's horrible defensive ability. These days, he could still feel a dull pain inside his broken teeth. To kill Jian Wushuang? It was impossible for him. If he's helping the Rock Demon clan, it'll be quite difficult for you to exterminate them. Di Yan said in a deep voice. How come? No matter how powerful the brat is, he's just at Eternal Realm level. Can't you kill him with all your full strength? The insidious man refused to yield. He ground his teeth with rage, while his eyes turned red. Master Di Yan, if you can kill him with all your strength, I can pay you 30% more of the reward I've promised. The insidious man encouraged coldly. Oh. Di Yan said, raising his eyebrows. He was not familiar with the Black Python clan. The reason why he decided to help the Black Python clan was that the insidious man promised him a lovely reward. Now he could get paid 30% more. It was rather tempting for Di Yan. I can promise you to kill him with all my strength, but I can't make any guarantee. Di Yan said. As long as you help us, I'll pay you 30% more regardless of the result. The insidious man said, clenching his hands, I don't believe that our preparations during the past years will be ruined by a nobody who is just at Eternal Realm level. Well, I will do my best. Di Yan said and moved at the next moment. But on his way toward Jian Wushuang, Di Yan sneered secretly, he's so dumb as to trust me. He knows nothing about the brat's horrifying defensive ability. I can't kill him even with my full strength. But since he's willing to pay 30% more, I'll put on a good show for him. Di Yan didn't think about killing Jian Wushuang at all. He just wanted to pretend to go all out and then be defeated by Jian Wushuang. In the end, he could get the extra 30% reward. Watching Di Yan coming towards him, Jian Wushuang had a weird smile on his face. Jian Wushuang thought, at that time, outside of Jin Yu's castle, I was still at a disadvantage when I engaged the old fellow. I could only make him leave using my defensive ability. Back then I didn't create any sword principle nor incredible swordsmanship, but now I've created 2 sword principles and been able to unleash their power at the same time. Besides, I've created 2 matching unique swordsmanships to greatly promote their battle strength. I'm wondering what will happen if I fight with the old fellow again today. Jian Wushuang wore a cold look and was eager to fight. Kill! With tremendous battle intent, Jian Wushuang shouted in a deep voice. As he moved, he had a face-to-face collision with Di Yan who came towards him. A burst of overwhelming sword essence immediately exploded at the moment they collided. Jian Wushuang held Blood Mountain Sword tightly with one hand, while Blood Mountain Sword was trembling and emitting bursts of overwhelming power. As fierce lights flashed in his eyes, he shot Blood Mountain Sword directly toward Di Yan. This move was extremely cold and emotionless. This move was created by Jian Wushuang based on his first sword principle, the Coalescence Sword Principle. This move was named Ruthlessness. Chapter 10:16, Fight with Di Yan again. Chapter 10:16, Fight with Di Yan again. Buzz. Emotionlessly, the cold and ruthless sword lights directly appeared in front of Di Yan and flustered the latter. It was only one swordsmanship, but in Di Yan's eyes, it was such a strange swordsmanship that seemed to contain several different essence. Humph. Di Yan snorted and suddenly clapped his wrinkled hands. The power came overwhelmingly like a piece of dark cloud. Whoosh! The strong sword lights swept and completely tore apart the dark cloud. The remaining sword lights still came at Di Yan. What? Di Yan was startled. He immediately waved his sleeves to disperse these sword lights. Buzz! A sword shadow had quietly appeared beside Di Yan. So fast. Di Yan couldn't help narrowing his eyes. A powerful consciousness attack directly came to him at the moment he saw the sword shadow. It was the perfect combination of swordsmanship and consciousness attack. It was a move named Death Shadow. The sudden consciousness attack directly swept over Di Yan without any sign. Although Di Yan was a peak rank 3 Dao master, at this moment he still felt a sharp pain in his consciousness and couldn't help trembling. Nevertheless, he managed to take the consciousness attack. In face of the consciousness attack, he instantly slapped on Jian Wushuang's longsword lightning fast and fended off Jian Wushuang's sword shadow. At the same time, he also retreated. Humph! Jian Wushuang snorted. The power of Blood Mountain Sword in his hand increased greatly. And at the next moment, his swordsmanship was in full swing. Swoosh! 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 The sword shadows chopped, swept or stabbed. Each of them was lightning fast. They were so fast. Apparently, Jian Wushuang had used his Aurora sword principle to the utmost. Every sword shadow came out lightning fast one after another. The swordsmanship, Di Yan said in great astonishment. It should be noted that he had a fight with Jian Wushuang more than 20 years ago. Although Jian Wushuang showed great strength at that time, Jian Wushuang was much weaker than him. In terms of swordsmanship, he did not remember Jian Wushuang displayed any remarkable swordsmanship. But now, Jian Wushuang's swordsmanship was much better than before. Although his swordsmanship was almost ordinary and not very powerful, he was so fast and vigorous. Jian Wushuang's power amplifications of 3-star ancient god power and star river secret skill were 90 times, and the power of blood-killing armor had increased by 10 times in stage 1. Thus, his power had soared. At that time, Jian Wushuang could display the battle strength close to peak rank 3 level without help from any sword principle. Now he had created 2 sword principles. With the help of the 2 sword principles, he had reached the peak of rank 3, which made him even a bit more powerful than Di Yan. With the fast speed, great strength, and incredible swordsmanship, Jian Wushuang completely overwhelmed Di Yan at the moment. Di Yan totally failed to fight back. How is it possible? How is it possible? Di Yan roared wildly in his heart. It has been less than 30 years since then. How is it possible that he has promoted his strength so much? It's impossible. Di Yan was drastically astonished. Di Yan did not know that Jian Wushuang had just spent 2,000 years on cultivation since he was born. What was more, he had spent over 1,200 years rebuilding his body. As an inverse cultivator, he possessed the flawless foundation and the strongest sword heart beyond Di Yan's imagination. Besides, he had the help from plenty of treasures and opportunities. 30 years was long enough for Jian Wushuang to promote his strength greatly. Di Yan was overwhelmed. Meanwhile, the battle intent in Jian Wushuang's eyes grew more and more intense, and his swordsmanship was increasingly faster. Retreat, retreat right away. Di Yan calmed down. He watched Jian Wushuang in panic, and then retreated immediately when he spotted an opportunity. He fell to the bat category of the sky-devouring clan and was talented at speed. Not even Jian Wushuang could capture him if he managed to run. Thus, the fierce battle between them stopped. Up in the void, Jian Wushuang still stood there with tremendous battle intent. He stared at Di Yan coldly and said, "What a pity. I can barely suppress him in our fight. However, it's not very practical for me to kill him." Jian Wushuang was also reluctant. After all, Di Yan was a real peak rank 3 Dao master gifted at speed. It was indeed pretty difficult to kill him. Jian Wushuang felt reluctant. People watching their fight were dumbstruck. Jian Wushuang, he defeated a peak rank 3 Dao master. God Hong and numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan looked extremely shocked. God Hong was especially awestruck. He used to fight with Di Yan. Even with his extremely strong body, he got seriously injured by Di Yan in less than 2 rounds and withdrew in panic. Di Yan's great strength made him a top dog in the entire Samsara continent. But now Di Yan was defeated by Jian Wushuang. Defeated by a young man who was an eternal realm expert from the ancient world and was favored by him 2,000 years ago? How did that happen? The insidious man, leader of the Black Python clan, watched all this in surprise and asked. In the meantime, Di Yan appeared beside him, looking rather miserable. "Did you see that?" Di Yan said with a trace of anger on his face, while his eyes were also filled with rage. "I've gone all out, but... Mo Lin, let's retreat. With the brat helping the Rock Demon clan, your Black Python clan is unable to exterminate them." Di Yan said in a deep voice. Mo Lin was the name of the insidious man, leader of the Black Python clan. The insidious man Mo Lin's face was sullen. He looked over at Jian Wushuang and fixed his eyes on him with endless hatred and reluctance. Reluctant, he was very reluctant indeed. This time their Black Python clan prepared everything well and even called in Di Yen for help at a high cost. They ambushed 4 Dao masters of the Rock Demon clan, seriously injured God Hong, and even had intruded the residence of the Rock Demon clan. Everything went as planned. However, no one had expected that at the brink of exterminating the Rock Demon clan, there came such an incredible Eternal Realm expert from the Rock Demon clan. The Eternal Realm expert killed 8 Dao masters under his command and even defeated Di Yen. With this Eternal Realm expert helping the Rock Demon clan, Mo Lin clearly knew that it was impossible for their Black Python clan to exterminate the Rock Demon clan today. If they continued their desperate attempts, their Black Python clan might be the one that was exterminated. "Let's retreat," Mo Lin said, while his heart was bleeding. Chapter 10:17, Retreat. Chapter 10:17, Retreat. Numerous experts of the Black Python clan retreated. They retreated reluctantly with the bodies of the 8 Dao masters. At the sight of this, the Rock Demon clan cheered for the victory in great excitement. Jian Wushuang. God Hong led numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan coming up to Jian Wushuang with tremendous gratitude and respect in their eyes. In this world, people always respected the strong. For people of the Rock Demon clan, obviously, Jian Wushuang was such a strong expert. "Thanks a lot," God Hong said in a solemn voice. He was quite clear that if it were not for Jian Wushuang's help, his clan would probably have been exterminated today. "Back then in the ancient world, I was indebted to you. Besides, you've taken good care of me during these years. Certainly, I should pay you back for your favor," Jian Wushuang said with a smile, "but it's a pity that I couldn't kill the clan leader of the Black Python clan for avoiding later trouble, because he kept hiding behind, in a distance from me. Now the Black Python clan has retreated, but I'm afraid that they won't let go easily." This time, the Rock Demon clan suffered a great loss, but obviously, the Black Python clan suffered more. 8 Dao masters had been killed by Jian Wushuang, which was enough to distress the Black Python clan greatly. The Black Python clan would definitely take frenzied revenge if they were capable of doing so. God Hong and numerous experts of the Rock Demon clan all looked solemn. They also knew that the crisis had just been resolved temporarily today. "Elder God Hong, the 9 sword scars left by Sunrise Sword Emperor is of great use to me. Can I stay in the rift for another period?" Jian Wushuang asked. "Certainly." God Hong nodded repeatedly and said, "You can stay in the rift, no matter how long you want. I've told them not to disturb you. By the way, since you are more powerful than me, it's unnecessary for you to keep calling me elder, you can directly call me by my name or call me Big Brother Hong like Qing Bin." "Then thank you for your treat, Big Brother Hong," Jian Wushuang said with a faint smile. Then he floated out of there and directly headed for the rift where the 9 sword scars were located without talking to those experts of the Rock Demon clan. On his way, Jian Wushuang heard Gu King say, "Jian Wushuang, you've created the Aurora Sword Principle and the Death Shadow. The 9 sword scars should be of little use to you now, but you said that you still needed to stay in the rift for meditation for some time. You do it for the Rock Demon clan, right? Gu King, you know me better and better after parasitizing in my body for so long." Jian Wushuang said with a smile, "I should help them through. The Rock Demon clan has just suffered from a great loss, and the Black Python clan won't let go easily. If I leave at this moment, I'm afraid that the Rock Demon clan will still be exterminated. In that case, I might as well stay in the residence of the Rock Demon clan for another period. It won't be too late to leave after the Rock Demon clan completely recovered. What's more, although the 9 sword scars are less useful to me than before, they are still of some use." Gu King groaned slightly without saying anything else. Jian Wushuang returned to the rift again and continued his meditation upon sword principle. Numerous clansmen of the Rock Demon clan were uncommonly grateful and respectful to Jian Wushuang. If there were still very few sword principle warriors who had complained that Jian Wushuang kept occupying the rift, now these clansmen expected him to stay there all the time. It brought their clan much more confidence and benefits to have such an incredible expert in their residence. In a grand hall on the territory of the Black Python clan. Asshole. Damned bastard. We were so close to exterminating the Rock Demon clan. Just at this moment, a sword principle expert showed up. Where does the brat come from? Mo Lin, the clan leader, started to roar insanely from the moment he stepped into the hall. On hearing these roars, the experts of the Black Python clan who stepped into the hall at the same time fell into silence, their expressions extremely unpleasant. This time their clan had indeed suffered a double loss. They didn't exterminate the Rock Demon clan. Instead, 8 of their Dao masters had been killed. Master Di Yan, I heard the conversation between you and the brat. You've known him long before? Mo Lin asked, looking toward Di Yan. Di Yan slowly sat down on a throne and began to talk after the hall became silent. I met the brat before indeed. His name is Jian Wushuang. Although he's just an Eternal Realm expert, his battle strength is comparable to that of a rank 3 Dao master due to his bloodline or something else. Over 20 years ago, I used to fight with him. Back then, he could barely survive in the fight. Di Yan described the fight with Jian Wushuang like this. But actually, Jian Wushuang survived in the fight with great ease. He just could do nothing to Jian Wushuang at that time. Over 20 years ago, his strength was close to rank 3 peak at most, but today. Speaking of this, Di Yan's face suddenly darkened. He said, today he showed the strength which is definitely at the peak level of rank 3. Even I was at a disadvantage in the fight with him. He has made an unimaginably rapid progress indeed. Bastard. Mo Lin said, clenching his teeth, our Black Python clan has prepared for so many years and paid such a high price for it. We must not waste all our previous efforts because of him. We must think of a way to kill him or drive him away. Master Di Yan, do you have any idea? Di Yan narrowed his eye and said, Jian Wushuang has tremendous strength as well as incredible defensive capability. It's impossible for me to kill him by myself, but... On hearing the word, but, Mo Lin immediately raised his eyebrows and said, Master Di Yan, tell me whatever idea you got. As long as we can kill the brat and exterminate the Rock Demon clan, we can negotiate no matter what price we need to pay. Di Yan forced a smile and said, it's not that we can do nothing about it if we really want to kill him. As far as I know, Jian Wushuang killed a gold-clothed deacon of the Samsara temple before. A gold-clothed deacon? Mo Lin was stunned. Gold-clothed deacons can be considered as higher-ups of the Samsara temple. There are just a few of them. If any of them dies, it will be a great loss for the Samsara temple. Since Jian Wushuang killed a gold-clothed deacon, the Samsara temple won't pretend that nothing has happened no matter why he did that. Di Yan said with a faint smile. Chapter 1018, Someone from Samsara Temple. Chapter 1018, Someone from Samsara Temple. Do you mean that we'll pass on the dirty work to Samsara Temple? Mo Lin looked over at Di Yan. Exactly. Di Yan smirked. As far as I know, Samsara Temple has learnt that Jian Wushuang killed one of their gold-clothed deacon. They must be searching for him all these years. Once we inform them of Jian Wushuang's whereabouts, they will certainly send their experts over. Is that so? Mo Lin replied. I happen to be acquainted with another gold-clothed deacon. I'll send a message for him right now so that he can report on Jian Wushuang. Good. Di Yan nodded. In your message, describe Jian Wushuang's strength and defensive power in detail, so that they can send a well-matched opponent. Right. Mo Lin sent the message at once. It didn't take long for a reply. The gold-clothed deacon I contacted has filed a report, we'll receive news soon. Mo Lin rejoiced. Then we'll just wait patiently. In the meanwhile, we'd better watch over Rock Demon Clan and what they are up to, Di Yan added. All right. Mo Lin nodded, and gave instructions for the arrangement. Peace was soon restored to the city of Black Python Clan. But it was short-lived, and lasted only for one day. Good news. The gold-clothed deacon told me that Samsara Temple has dispatched their expert. Mo Lin cried out with excitement. Samsara Temple is rather efficient. We've just reported it and their expert set off in less than a day. Di Yan was elated. By the way, who did they send? A Tao master called Dreamless. I heard he's a rank 8 reincarnator. Mo Lin replied. Tao master Dreamless? Di Yan squinted as he searched through his memory. His eyes lit up as he recalled the Tao master. I remember him, he cried. Lord Di Yan, do you know him? Mo Lin asked. Rank 8 reincarnators were rare in the entire Samsara continent. Although he was a leader of a strong population, Mo Lin was still not in a position to meet the reincarnators. I've only heard of him. He's indeed a rank 8 reincarnator, as well as a heaven-level law executor. He's one of the well-known top experts in Samsara continent. Di Yan said with a serious look. Although he's only at rank 3 peak, he's the best among his peers. Most importantly, he excels at attacking. His offensive power would easily make him the third most powerful celestial master in Green Fire World. He's that good? Mo Lin asked, eyes wide. He could hold the third place among Green Fire World's celestial masters. When it comes to offensive power, there were many experts, such as Emperor Shao and Emperor Yun, who were almost at the level of a celestial master. These experts were much stronger than normal Tao masters at rank 3 peak. But even Emperor Shao dared not to claim the third place with his offensive power. Which meant that Tao Master Dreamless was better skilled at offensive power than Emperor Shao and Emperor Yun. Jian Wushuang is known for his defensive skill, mediocre Tao Masters of rank 3 peak don't stand a chance in front of him. But Tao Master Dreamless might succeed. I can't ask for anything better. Once Jian Wushuang is killed, Rock Demon Clan will vanish too. Mo Lin cried out with excitement. Let's wait for Tao Master Dreamless, he should be arriving in a few days' time. Di Yan chuckled. Like Void Temple, Samsara Temple had set up numerous wormholes on Samsara continent. However, their wormholes were not accessible by just anyone, no matter the price offered to grant access. Which is why while normal people walked on foot, Samsara Temple experts are able to make use of the wormholes for a faster journey. 3 days later, in the void above the city of Black Python Clan, Mo Lin, Di Yan and other experts from Black Python Clan all waited in silence. Before long, a bright golden light appeared, making its way towards the crowd. It came to a stop before the crowd, and a figure dressed in a golden robe came into view. A dignified, handsome young man appeared with his magic weapons, which were 2 long spears, behind his back. Mo Lin, Di Yan and the others greeted the golden-robed man at once. Leader of Black Python Clan, at your service. Mo Lin bowed respectfully. Black Python Clan. Barely paying any attention to Mo Lin, the Tao Master looked over to Di Yan instead. He noticed that among these experts, only Di Yan was at rank 3 peak. Who is this? Tao Master Dreamless asked. I'm Di Yan, at your service. Di Yan replied modestly. Di Yan? The Tao Master narrowed his eyes. Sky-devouring bat Di Yan? Tao Master Dreamless has actually heard of me. What an honor. Di Yan smiled faintly. Well, there are only 2 sky-devouring members on Samsara continent. One of them is you and the other is your father Empyrean Patriarch. Tao Master Dreamless continued, your father Empyrean Patriarch is rather brutal, many great populations and clans, including Samsara Temple, are all afraid of him. As his only son, you'll naturally be noticed by the Samsara Temple. But why are you involved in this matter? I wouldn't dare to interfere with Samsara Temple's affairs. But this time is a coincidence. Mo Lin has asked me to deal with Rock Demon Clan, but alas, Jian Wushuang came along. To be honest, he's rather capable. Although I'm at rank 3 peak, I am no match for him. Di Yan looked ashamed. Even you can't defeat him? The Tao Master could not help but gave a look of astonishment. He had no idea just how strong Di Yan really was. But he was aware of how destructive his father Empyrean Patriarch was. Di Yan, a descendant of Sky Devouring Clan and an expert of rank 3 peak, surely would not be lacking in power. But Di Yan could not defeat Jian Wushuang, which adequately shows how capable the latter was. I heard that he's only at Eternal Realm level. I'd like to meet a man at Eternal Realm level with such battle strength. Tao Master Dreamless eyes flashed with anticipation. Chapter 1019, Dragon Trapping Array. Chapter 1019, Dragon Trapping Array. Well, let's set off now. Di Yan suggested. Sure. Tao Master Dreamless nodded. But I must clarify this, I will only deal with Jian Wushuang. I won't intervene in the war between Black Python Clan and Rock Demon Clan. Of course. Both Di Yan and Mo Lin gave an easy smile. Jian Wushuang was the reason why Black Python Clan could not defeat Rock Demon Clan. If Tao Master Dreamless managed to get rid of Jian Wushuang, whom Rock Demon Clan had been dependent on, Rock Demon Clan will inherently be at Black Python Clan's mercy. Moments later, Tao Master Dreamless appeared from a void before Rock Demon Clan's residences. Di Yan, Mo Lin, and other experts followed behind the master. Jian Wushuang. Tao Master Dreamless' powerful voice could be heard by the entire Rock Demon Clan. The intensity of the voice shocked even Rock Demon Clan. In the valley, Jian Wushuang was practicing his swordsmanship in solitary. I'm almost there. What's the last component? Brows knitted, he racked his brains for an answer. He had assimilated the Coalescence Sword Principle and the Aurora Sword Formation. The third sword principle was nearly integrated as well. But Jian Wushuang could not overcome the final step to achieve full assimilation. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang. The powerful voice which had rang throughout the entire Rock Demon Clan reached the little valley where Jian Wushuang was. Jian Wushuang looked up in the direction of the sound. Brother Wushuang. Along with Rock Demon Clan's experts, God Hong hurried into the valley. Brother Hong, what's the matter? Jian Wushuang asked. It's the Black Python Clan, they're here again. They brought someone to help them this time. God Hong looked worried. Oh. Jian Wushuang nodded. He wasn't surprised, he had fully expected that Black Python Clan would not let the matter rest. Who did they bring along? Jian Wushuang asked. I don't know. God Hong shook his head. All I know is that he is good at spears and has a strong aura that is stronger than most experts at the peak of rank 3. But he is not a celestial master. Not a celestial master. Jian Wushuang smirked. Jian Wushuang is well aware of his defense skills. To pose as a threat to him, one must be a celestial master. Since the person who Black Python Clan had brought along was not a celestial master, he had nothing to worry about. Gu King, is there anything that can hinder one's movement among the treasures that Dao Yuanzi had left behind? Jian Wushuang doubted. There is. What are you going to do with it? Asked Gu King. The 9 sword scars are losing their power, and I don't intend to stay here anymore. If I can, I'd like to get rid of the Black Python Clan once and for all. Jian Wushuang replied. Dao Yuanzi left a large collection of treasures, there are ones which prevents one from running away. Though the only one you'll find helpful will be the dragon trapping array. Gu King added. Dragon trapping array? Jian Wushuang asked. The dragon trapping array is an ordinary spell formation in Eternal Chaotic World, but it's an impressive one in Green Fire World. The spell formation will cast a temporary defensive cover once it's set up. Save for the spellcaster, anyone trapped within the defensive cover will have their speed of movement reduced. The enemies can't escape within a short period of time. With their speed of movement significantly reduced, you are presented with the opportunity to kill them, Gu King continued. Dao Yuanzi left behind a complete set of dragon trapping array which you may set up secretly. But some chaos gems will be required to cast the spell formation. How many Chao gems are needed? Jian Wushuang asked. It depends on how long you need the formation to last for. On average, to maintain the formation for 15 minutes, you would need 10 chaos gems. Gu King answered. 10 chaos gems for 15 minutes? Jian Wushuang repeated, eyes glowing. For an expert like Jian Wushuang, 15 minutes was sufficient to engage in several rounds of battle. With some extra effort, he will be able to destroy the entire Black Python clan in less than 15 minutes. I'll take the dragon trapping array. Jian Wushuang made the decision and summoned his slaughter body. Take care of them for me. Jian Wushuang ordered, passing an interspatial ring to his slaughter body. Okay. The slaughter body nodded slightly and left with the lightness and fluidity of a ghost. Jian Wushuang, what are you? God Hong and the others couldn't understand what was happening with the appearance of slaughter body. Brother Hong, let's go and meet Black Python clan. Jian Wushuang merely smiled, and headed towards the void. In the void before the residences of Rock Demon clan, Dao Master Dreamless headed a group of soldiers while holding long golden spears. The master emitted a strong aura. Swish. 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 In a flash, numerous figures flew before Dao Master Dreamless, floating in the air. Is that the person who Black Python clan is engaging help from? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes at Dao Master Dreamless. He could feel the pressure that Dao Master Dreamless is giving him. He experienced similar level of pressure when facing Emperor Shao or Emperor Yun. He is likely to be a match for Uncle Shao. Jian Wushuang thought. So, you are Jian Wushuang? Dao Master Dreamless returned the stare. I am. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. I'm Dao Master Dreamless, Heaven-level Law Executor of Samsara Temple. Not long ago, you killed our gold-clothed Deacon Jin Yu. Today, I'm here to take your life. The Dao Master declared in a deep tone. The Master's words were a shock to Rock Demon clan's experts. He's from Samsara Temple. Did Master Wushuang kill a gold-clothed deacon of Samsara Temple? Damn, a law executor from Samsara Temple, this means trouble. The faces of God Hong and others turned white in distress. Jian Wushuang simply wore a faint smile and asked the Master. Dao Master Dreamless, may I know how are you going to take my life? I'll kill you right here. The Dao Master retorted coldly and darted towards Jian Wushuang. Shoo! A terrifying noise resonated throughout the void. Dao Master Dreamless shifted from his original position to where Jian Wushuang was in an instant. His long golden spears were aggressively directed at Jian Wushuang. Chapter 1020, Dao Master Dreamless. Chapter 1020, Dao Master Dreamless. Those spears. Jian Wushuang regarded the intimidating gold spears that pierced through the void and left a damaged portal. Though shocked, Jian Wushuang managed to draw his Blood Mountain sword, which was quaking with power. Ruthlessness. With a shout, he struck. A stifling power blanketed the area. The strike was ruthless and direct. Clang! The edge of the sword and the tip of the long gold spear clashed, shattering the void nearby. Jian Wushuang's arms trembled at the force of the blows and he could not help but stagger back. His power is astounding. Jian Wushuang exclaimed to himself. In terms of strength, the Tao Master was far superior to him. Go! With another shout, Tao Master Dreamless lunged out with his gold spear again. Chew! 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 He struck 3 more times, every blow fast and terrifying as a venomous snake. With cold resolve in his eyes, Jian Wushuang brandished his Blood Mountain sword. Since Jian Wushuang had devised the Aurora Sword principle, he was able to keep up with the Tao Master's speed. Clang! 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 Jian Wushuang's arms shivered at the force of each blow. Humph! Jian Wushuang lashed out at the Tao Master's neck with all of his strength. Death Shadow! Clang! Light flashed off his sword as Jian Wushuang launched an immaterial consciousness attack. Tao Master Dreamless went still at the attack but recovered quickly and struck again. He easily warded off the Death Shadow and forced Jian Wushuang to retreat, once again. Suddenly, the Tao Master's fighting seemed to improve. He struck continuously, sometimes stabbing, sometimes slashing, and sometimes even throwing out the length of his spear. Every blow the Tao Master launched was formidable. He was far more capable than an ordinary Tao Master at the peak of rank 3. He's too powerful. Though Jian Wushuang could keep up with his opponent's speed, the latter was much stronger. Every time he blocked a blow, Jian Wushuang's remaining strength dwindled. All the consecutive strikes were beginning to test his endurance. Damn it, I can't do it anymore. Jian Wushuang was pale-faced and trembling, and he could no longer ignore the sharp pain in his arms. All of his strength left him suddenly. Tao Master Dreamless lashed out with his spear. The force of the blow dented the Blood Mountain sword. Vehemence gleamed in the Tao Master's eyes. Ultimate dragon killing. Shoo! A blinding golden light emerged. The light shone like a golden sun before it barreled toward Jian Wushuang. Everywhere the light touched, the void shattered. The single strike of the spear seemed to destroy everything. Jian Wushuang squinted at the strike and attempted to block it. His Blood Mountain sword fell to the side and failed to ward off the impact, which hit him square in the chest. Clang! A clash resounded. What? The Tao Master looked up in surprise. A crimson mist from his robe covered Jian Wushuang's entire body. The tip of the spear wounded Jian Wushuang, but failed to fatally pierce him. Shoo! The force of the blow threw Jian Wushuang back. He grunted from the impact and coughed up blood. Jian Wushuang was wounded. Even with the blood-killing plate armory, Jian Wushuang was wounded by the spear. It was the first time that he had been hurt after he became a 3-star ancient god and acquired the blood-killing plate armor. Under normal circumstances, even with a direct hit, Jian Wushuang would remain unscathed. When Di Yan had landed a blow on Jian Wushuang, he was not only unharmed but had somehow caused Di Yan to break a tooth. The fact that the Tao Master was able to wound Jian Wushuang was a testament to his abilities. The observers, however, were amazed that Jian Wushuang was not more seriously injured. He's only slightly injured after taking a hit like that in the chest. My God, how strong is his defensive power? It is really insurmountable. The crowd roared and bellowed. God Hong widened his eyes. I've awakened my rock demon giant bloodline, and I'm a master in defense. But even if I became 10 times stronger, I still couldn't ward off that blow. How is he only slightly injured? The crowd was astounded. Even Tao Master Dreamless himself was surprised. You're not badly injured. Tao Master Dreamless. Di Yan continued with a serious voice. Even though you can't kill him with one strike, he's injured now, and all you have to do is continue to attack. Soon, he'll be defeated. I have to keep attacking. The Tao Master considered the action, but his expression suddenly changed. He noticed Jian Wushuang's expression. During the previous round of battle, Jian Wushuang must have known the outcome. Jian Wushuang was supposed to look shocked or terrified, or at least disheartened at being injured in such a fashion. Instead, Jian Wushuang seemed pleasantly surprised. Yes, he was surprised, perhaps even elated. That blow! Jian Wushuang yelled in his heart as his eyes flashed with excitement. Dao Master Dreamless' strike was powerful and overwhelming, almost no one could have blocked it. Jian Wushuang was inspired by it. Such power! So violent and overpowering. Isn't this just what I need to devise the third sword principle? Chapter 1021, The Scarlet Yang Sword Principle. Chapter 1021, The Scarlet Yang Sword Principle. Jian Wushuang was indeed astonished. He had studied the powerful Yang sword principle he acquired from Dao Yuanqi extensively. From Dao Yuanzi's instruction, he had developed the better part of the sword principle and had almost succeeded in completing it. He had been stumped by the last step, however. Dao Master's powerful strike just gave him inspiration. I must provoke him to draw out his attacks. The more techniques I see, the more I'll be able to understand. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists and called out, Gu King. Leave it to me. His ability is unfounded, but it will take but a second for me to heal you. Gu King said seriously. As a plenilune centipede, Gu King had mastered the skill of healing. It was because of both his own great defensive power and Gu King's healing skills that Jian Wushuang believed that he was invincible. Fight! Jian Wushuang's eyes flashed with renewed spirit, and with a roar, he lunged toward the Dao Master. Humph! The Dao Master resolutely stared down his attacker. The second round of the battle was even more ferocious. Dao Master Dreamless was faster and more vicious, and Jian Wushuang strained to parry the brutal blows over and over again. Ultimate Dragon Killing. The Dao Master struck Jian Wushuang once again, and the latter was thrown back. Within moments, however, Jian Wushuang came at him again. Again. Jian Wushuang was provoking the Dao Master, regardless of his own injuries. Die! Ultimate Dragon Killing. Dao Master Dreamless put his full might behind his more powerful maneuver. He hit Jian Wushuang again and again. If his opponent had been anyone else, they would have died on the spot. However, after being injured numerous times, Jian Wushuang continued to spring back, as determined as ever. This might have been reasonable if the Dao Master had only struck once or twice, but his opponent had been hit at least 10 times and was still full of energy. How is this possible? How is he unharmed? Dao Master Dreamless was in shock. The crowd was also dumbfounded. They had all failed to sense Gu King inside Jian Wushuang, healing him immediately each time a blow landed and sustaining his strength and stamina. There's no other way, I have to use my secret weapon. Dao Master Dreamless' eyes were purposeful. He drew out a jade bottle and swallowed a drop of essence blood. Immediately, his aura flared up, and his pupils burned a fiery red. With his eyes fixated on Jian Wushuang, he lifted his spear to attack. Golden Dragon Drill. With a loud shout, Dao Master Dreamless twisted his wrist and threw out his spear in a strange maneuver. The nearby void was shattered immediately. Out of nothing, emerged a giant black hole, and at its center was a golden vortex. From deep within the vortex, the long spear launched out at Wushuang in the form of a dragon. The earth shook. The crowd stared at the golden dragon in unprecedented astonishment. So this, Dian was also amazed. The great power of a celestial master. With just one drop of essence blood, Dao Master Dreamless was able to perform his move at the level of a celestial master. The blow sent tremors into the earth. The strike rattled the crowd. Jian Wushuang froze at the sight of the dragon. This maneuver. The attack filled Jian Wushuang's vision. It was a paralyzing and dominating blow. As the spear sped toward him, the secret of the third sword principle dawned on Jian Wushuang. Could this be the answer? He finally deciphered his dilemma. Jian Wushuang was ecstatic. Right as the spear reached his chest, he returned the blow. Jian Wushuang's strike was just as aggressive, and perhaps even more vicious. All of his strength poured into the blow. Bam! The ground quaked at the ear-piercing sound. Shoo! Hearing this, Jian Wushuang smirked and wiped the blood from his mouth, saying, "I couldn't have devised my third sword principle so fast if it wasn't for you. Thank you." Indeed, without the inspiration of Tao Master Dreamless' fierce attack and excellent spear skills, Jian Wushuang would not have succeeded in inventing his own third sword principle so soon. During the fierce battle, he had been enlightened. The secret of the last step dawned on him, and the third sword principle finally revealed itself. Staring at the Blood Mountain sword in his hand, Jian Wushuang murmured, "My third one is Dao Yuanzi's legacy. It's yang, fierce, and overwhelming. It's replete with power. It will be the Scarlet Yang sword principle." After the Coalescence sword principle and the Aurora sword principle, Jian Wushuang finally devised his third one, the Scarlet Yang sword principle. Being the strongest sword principle, it achieved the universe level at its creation. Chapter 1022, There is no escape. Chapter 1022, There is no escape. I've used my best hit, but still haven't defeated you. Instead, you had a breakthrough. Now that you are even stronger, I do not have the ability to kill you, said Tao Master Dreamless as he drew back his long spear, resigned. Jian Wushuang gave a wry smile. In creating the third sword principle, which was at the universe level, he had greatly strengthened himself in offensive power. He would be almost unparalleled in skill. Now, Tao Master Dreamless wouldn't even be able to hold him off, let alone kill him. Jian Wushuang. Tao Master Dreamless tossed a token in his direction. Though hesitant, he reached out to catch to the token in his hands. The moment it touched his hand, a voice echoed through his mind. Jian Wushuang, we, the Samsara Temple, know that 20 years ago, Jin Yu attacked you first, and you only killed him in defense. You didn't mean to provoke us. Tao Master Dreamless' mouth did not move as his message was sent through the token. He clearly wanted a private conversation with Jian Wushuang. To be completely transparent, I did not come with the intention of killing you. We only wanted to teach you a lesson since you killed a gold-clothed deacon. We couldn't just let you get away with it. We didn't want to kill you because you have great potential. Perhaps you can join the Green Fire Palace and serve as our soldier. We won't kill a prodigy like you unless absolutely necessary. When I said I wanted to kill you on the spot, I was merely attempting to provoke you into using your full strength. Please forgive me if I've been rude. Tao Master Dreamless sounded sincere. The order he received was simply to teach Jian Wushuang a lesson, not to kill him. The Samsara Temple know about Jian Wushuang's overwhelming defensive power, so if they really wanted to kill him, they would have sent a celestial master instead of the Tao Master. Not even Tao Master Dreamless expected that after using his full strength he would fail to even scratch Jian Wushuang. On the contrary, he had incited Jian Wushuang's discovery of his third sword principle. Now that Jian Wushuang had gained so much power, there was no point in continuing to fight, thus he had clarified his intentions and apologized to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was shocked at the Tao Master's words. He thought that the Samsara Temple wanted to kill him, but it was far from the truth. Did Samsara Temple really only want to teach him a lesson as a punishment? The Green Fire Palace? Jian Wushuang was curious. It was not the first time he had heard of it. During the time that the royal palace of Tang of the East was besieged by 3 larger countries, the Tang Emperor nearly killed the other ruler. However, since the ruler was from the Green Fire Palace, the Tang Emperor had to spare him. For the second time, Jian Wushuang failed to discover what the Green Fire Palace was. Restraining his curiosity, Jian Wushuang refrained from asking about the palace. Tao Master, since you don't intend to kill me, then the Black Python clan, Jian Wushuang sent back a message through the token. We do not interfere with the business of the Black Python clan, so you may do as you please, Tao Master Dreamless said. Thank you for your permission. Jian Wushunage let out a smile as sharp as the edge of his blade. The crowd could not hear a single word of their conversation through the token. However, the battle they had witnessed was still at the forefront of their thoughts. How is this possible? Tao Master Dreamless performed a strike at Celestial Master level. How did he fail to kill Jian Wushuang? And how did Jian Wushuang discover his sword principle instead? What happened? Di Yan, Mo Lin, and many other experts from the Black Python clan were all baffled. Di Yan was trembling. Before this battle, Jian Wushuang could already him in terms of battle strength. But now, after Jian Wushuang successfully devised his third sword principle, he would be able to kill him easily. Mo Lin, let's go. Di Yan whispered. Mo Lin was reluctant to lose this chance, but he had to leave. Since they were no longer able to kill Jian Wushuang, the only option was to leave with the rest of the Black Python clan. Except just as they turned around, they heard a voice call out. You've really made yourselves at home, haven't you? Jian Wushuang's cold voice reverberated across the sky. Di Yan, Mo Lin, and other Black Python clan experts all stopped in their tracks and turned to regard Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, we're already about to leave, what do you want from us? Do you want us to stay forever? Di Yan questioned Jian Wushuang angrily. Yes, in fact, I do. Jian Wushuang smiled quietly. Interesting. Di Yan snorted. I admit that since you've broken through, you are now more capable than me. But so what? I'm fast. I can outrun you easily. If you want me to stay forever, make me. Di Yan taunted. Both he and Mo Lin knew they could not match Jian Wushuang in terms of brute force. However, they both believed that they could outrun him easily. You're right, Di Yan. Under normal circumstances, I can't outrun you. But look around yourself now. The severity of Jian Wushuang's voice sent a tremor through the listeners. At his own words, he secretly commanded his slaughter body. No one had discovered that his slaughter body set up dragon trapping spell formation in secret. The spell formation was complete and awaiting his signal. At his signal, his slaughter body activated the spell formation at once. All of a sudden, a transparent shield wove together to cover the nearby void in its entirety. Jian Wushuang, Di Yan, Mo Lin, and the other experts were all trapped. At that moment, Jian Wushuang's expression spoke death. There is no escape for anyone today. Chapter 1023, Kill Them All. Chapter 1023, Kill Them All. There is no escape for anyone today. Jian Wushuang spat out the sentence with murderous undertone, and darted out like a ghost. Oh no! Is this a trap? We're trapped. Seeing the enchanted walls rising around them, all the Black Python clansmen were stunned, especially Di Yan and Mo Lin. They weren't stupid, they knew that the enchantment was a trap. But out of nowhere, the light of a powerful sword barreled toward the Black Python clansmen. Watch out! Di Yan shouted. Just in time, the clansmen sensed the attack and retreated. But just as they turned around. Why am I so slow? What has happened to me? To their surprise, they all discovered that they could no longer move at a normal pace and couldn't dodge the sword's blow. It was as if they had been chained down. Without pause, a forceful consciousness attack landed upon them. Inside the enchantment, all the Black Python clan experts froze like a stone. They could only watch as Jian Wushuang's sword struck them. Swish! The remorseless blade split through their bodies in an instant. Back when he had only devised 2 sword principles, Jian Wushuang had managed to kill 8 Dao masters with the Death Shadow. But now, it was much easier for him to slay these Black Python clan experts. In just a brief moment, all the clansmen had been eliminated except for Mo Lin and Di Yan. Bastard! Mo Lin's eyes widened at the sight of the bloodshed. The noble protectors of his people had all been slain by Jian Wushuang in the blink of an eye. You must die too. Relenting to his murderous rage, Jian Wushuang rushed at Molin and Dian. Oh no! Despair marked the faces of Di Yan and Mo Lin. Also slowed down and trapped by the enchantment of the Chaos Gems, there was no path for them to escape. Stall him, it is not easy to maintain this enchantment. Di Yan shouted. Mo Lin nodded resolutely, and they joined forces in an attempt to stop Jian Wushuang. Break! Jian Wushuang brandished his Blood Mountain sword. The mighty blow melded together the power of his three sword principles. Di Yan lifted his hand and used all of his strength. Right beside him, Mo Lin waved a giant axe at Jian Wushuang savagely. 1 versus 2. But then... Bam! Di Yan let out a grunt as he was forced backward, and Mo Lin spat out a mouthful of blood. Death Shadow. Jian Wushuang's second move, the fast Death Shadow, charged straight toward Mo Lin. Too fast. Not just fast, the blow was also filled with a consciousness attack. Already injured, Mo Lin struggled to hold himself up and could do nothing to block the Death Shadow. No! Mo Lin screamed, but the sword didn't slow down, it slashed through his neck. Swish! A human head fell. The leader of the Black Python clan, Mo Lin, was dead. Damn! How is he so powerful? Di Yan's hope died. He had expected Mo Lin to stop Jian Wushuang as the enchantment around the was so difficult to sustain. He thought that if they could stall until the trap disappeared, they could run. Never in his wildest dream did he expect that Mo Lin would be killed in the blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang was far more capable than he thought. If he's dead, then there is no hope for me. Di Yan looked desperate because he saw rage flash in Jian Wushuang's eyes. A bloodthirsty aura shrouded Jian Wushuang. It was so potent that Di Yan could almost touch it. If they were anywhere, he would not have been so hopeless. But trapped in the enchantment and slower than normal, he could not fight Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Dreamless, please help me. Di Yan turned his face toward Dao Master Dreamless in the nearby void. Desperation cracked his voice, please, I'll remember your help forever. Please. Di Yan was shouting at the top of his lungs. But Dao Master Dreamless stayed motionless with his arms folded. I've told you. I only came to deal with Jian Wushuang. Since I failed, I won't interfere anymore. This war between the Black Python clan and Jian Wushuang is none of my business. Dao Master Dreamless' merciless voice rang. Bastard! Di Yan cursed. Jian Wushuang was now right in front of Di Yan. Die! Without any hesitation, the Blood Mountain sword cut into Di Yan. Di Yan was almost defenseless, and after only 3 strikes, he was heavily injured. Jian Wushuang kept attacking him. Stop, Jian Wushuang. I'm begging you. Di Yan cried. Now you're begging me? He just snorted and his barbaric expression didn't change. Jian Wushanag wanted to kill Di Yan more than he did the Black Python clan. Di Yan had caused him distress many a time, and Jian Wushuang hadn't been strong enough to return the favor. Now, he would not hesitate to kill him. No, you can't. Di Yan shrieked. Jian Wushuang, my father is the Empyrean Patriarch, he's the Empyrean Patriarch. The Empyrean Patriarch? Jian Wushuang narrowed his eyes but did not stop. He just snorted again. Who's he? I've never heard of him. Di Yan was speechless. Before he could speak, a sword sliced into him. And this time, he had no more words. Chapter 1024, Empyrean Patriarch. Chapter 1024, Empyrean Patriarch. Bang! The fierce blow pierced through Di Yan's protections and direly landed on his body. The power even drowned Di Yan's last screech and slew him quietly. Finally, when peace was once more restored, the void was gradually healing. Is he dead? The Rock Demon Clan's masters, including God Hong, all froze there, stunned. They had witnessed the entire battle. Jian Wushuang had confronted Dao Master Dreamless and broken through. Now, he actually annihilated the Black Python clan along with Di Yan with his thunderous strikes. Jian Wushuang really impressed them. They even failed to collect their thoughts yet. However, shortly after, among the Rock Demon clan, thunderous cheering echoed. He's dead. The leader of the Black Python clan Mo Lin is dead. All the Black Python clan experts, all of them were killed by Master Wushuang alone. The crowd cheered. Jian Wushuang was not impressed. He stared coldly at the bodies on the ground and murmured to himself. I've just created my Scarlet Yang sword principle, and haven't conjured a matching strong swordsmanship. Otherwise, I could have killed Di Yan easily. Jian Wushuang was fully aware that he had achieved a brand new level after devising the Scarlet Yang sword principle. He was almost a celestial master, even could surpass Emperor Shao or Emperor Yun. Without a matching swordsmanship, he was unable to perform the third sword principle to the fullest extent. Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Dreamless voice rang. I must admit that you're not only gifted but also brave. Dao Master Dreamless smiled. When Di Yan told you about his father, you killed him still, well. Empyrean Patriarch? Curious, Jian Wushuang had to ask, Dao Master, who is Empyrean Patriarch? You really don't know him? Dao Master Dreamless stared at Jian Wushuang in amazement. At that moment, he thought Jian Wushuang was playing dumb. He did not expect that Jian Wushuang was really unaware of Empyrean Patriarch. To be honest, I come from Void Continent and just arrived here recently. I don't know much about experts on Samsara Continent. Jian Wushuang admitted. That explains. If you're born here, you would have known him. Dao Master Dreamless knitted his brows and cast a serious look at Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, you don't want to mess with Empyrean Patriarch. If I'm not mistaken, he must be a celestial master, said Jian Wushuang. Di Yan was already a Dao master at the peak of rank 3. If he talked someone before his death, that someone must be stronger than him, more capable than a celestial master. Right, he's a celestial master, and one of the troublesome kind. Dao Master Dreamless continued, have you seen Di Yan's bloodline? Yes, he's from the Sky-Devouring clan. Jian Wushuang answered. You're right, Dao Master Dreamless confirmed. You must know that on Samsara Continent, there are many unique bloodlines of high value. Those bloodlines are rare and highly leveled. Even in the grand eternal chaotic world, Sky-Devouring clan belongs to the rarest and the most valuable bloodlines. On Samsara Continent, there were 2 men with that bloodline. One is Di Yan, the other is his father, Empyrean Patriarch. Empyrean Patriarch has gained himself a reputation years ago. He even stands out among celestial masters. Moreover, he's wild and listens to no one. In the past, he was already famous for being murderous. In Green Fire World, everyone fears him. Even Samsara Temple, though we've got lots of experts, however, except the Temple Master, he cares none of us. Peak populations of Samsara Continent dare not to provoke him. So, you may call him a wild, mad, and troublesome old monster. And you killed the monster's only son. What do you say? Do you think he'll seek a revenge? Hearing out Dao Master Dreamless, Jian Wushuang was stunned. Before he killed Di Yan, he vaguely guessed that Empyrean Patriarch was a celestial master. However, he did not expect such a notorious and strong celestial master. It was no good to be targeted by such a capable celestial master. To hell with it, if he wants a revenge on me, he can try. Jian Wushuang just smiled. You're bold. Tao Master Dreamless shook his head smilingly. Or what? I've killed him. There's nothing I can do. Jian Wushuang remained calm. He never regretted one single of his decisions. Since he decided to kill Di Yan, he would pay whatever price that would cost. So what if Empyrean Patriarch sought his revenge? He had destroyed Dao Yuanzi, who was much stronger than Empyrean Patriarch. He would not be scared of the latter. Tao Master Dreamless, thanks to you, I've created my third sword principle. If it's convenient for you, why don't we stay for a drink? I happen to have something to ask you. He invited the Tao Master. Sure. Tao Master Dreamless accepted the invitation. Then, they headed straight to the city of the Rock Demon Clan, where they were warmly received. In a grand temple, Jian Wushuang and Tao Master Dreamless sat face to face. In between them, there was a table lined with cuisine and fine wines. They talked during the meal. The Rock Demon Clan experts stayed at the outside. Jian Wushuang, to be honest, are you really just in Eternal Realm? Tao Master Dreamless looked into Jian Wushuang's eyes. Chapter 1025, Green Fire Palace. Chapter 1025, Green Fire Palace. Are you really just an Eternal Realm expert? Upon hearing Tao Master Dreamless' question, Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly. I'm indeed at the Eternal Realm, but my bloodline power has already reached the Tao Master level. To be precise, I'm a Tao Master presently. Jian Wushuang was telling the truth. The inverse cultivator at the Eternal Realm was regarded as a Tao Master in the eternal chaotic world. His ancient god power had reached the 3-star level. In this aspect, he was on a par with a Tao Master as well. All this proved that he was qualified to be a Tao Master. Really? I assume you cannot be so powerful without other factors. Tao Master Dreamless sighed with emotion. After knocking a glass of wine back, Jian Wushuang smiled and asked casually, Tao Master Dreamless, mighty as you are, you probably are a rank 8 reincarnator, right? Yes. Tao Master Dreamless nodded. Overjoyed, Jian Wushuang immediately said seriously, Tao Master Dreamless, to be honest, I persuaded you to stay here because I hope you can do me a favor. Oh. Tao Master Dreamless raised his eyebrows but he did not feel surprised. Tell me about it. I'll do my best if I can. Tao Master Dreamless was an amiable man. He relished networking with many people. He preferred to make contact with experts like Jian Wushuang who was powerful and had great potentials. Normally, he would not refuse if he could assist them. Jian Wushuang said, 2,000 years ago, one of my close relatives was selected as the reincarnator by the Samsara Temple, but I haven't received any message from him until now. That was why I came here from the Void Continent. I'm looking for him. In order to do that, I paid a big price to Jinyu, a gold-clothed deacon, but he failed to find him. Therefore, I have no other choice but to ask a rank 8 reincarnator for help. You want me to search for your relative using my powers? Tao Master Dreamless glanced at Jian Wushuang. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded solemnly. I'm ready to pay any price as long as you're willing to help me. Tao Master Dreamless frowned. Do you have difficulty doing that? Asked Jian Wushuang. I'm sorry. I can't help you with that. Tao Master Dreamless shook his head. Why? Jian Wushuang's heart knocked. I do want to help you. Tao Master Dreamless gave a wry smile. Considering your potential, if you don't die young, you definitely can become a top-notch person in the Green Fire world. I wish to make friends with you or let you owe me a favor. But I can do nothing on this matter. Jian Wushuang, you may not know that the experts in the Samsara Temple are actually divided into 2 categories. The first kind is responsible for matters related to the selection of reincarnators, while the second kind is the law executors who are in charge of removing all obstacles for the Samsara Temple through battles. These two types of experts hold different posts. You can also regard them as two main factions. Neither side will intervene in each other's affairs. As a heaven-level law executor, my job is to fight on the battlefield. I have no control over the information about those reincarnators and thus cannot aid you. I don't have the right to do that. Really? Jian Wushuang had a rather surprised look on his face. He always harbored the idea that as long as he found a rank 8 reincarnator, he could look up the information of all reincarnators below rank 8. However, things went contrary to his wishes. In fact, there were two major factions in the Samsara Temple. The law executors were only responsible for fighting outside. Jian Wushuang, you should ask inner elders for help. They are rank 8 reincarnators and are in charge of the selection of reincarnators. They should be very clear about the information of reincarnators below rank 8. Tao Master Dreamless said. Inner elder? Jian Wushuang bore this in mind. I seldom make contact with them, but I can introduce you the only one I am familiar with. Tao Master Dreamless added. Jian Wushuang's eyes immediately lit up. Although Tao Master Dreamless could not help him find his father's whereabouts, it would be very kind of him to introduce him an inner elder. That elder named Ding Mo. I'll send him a message. You just need to take this token to find him in the divine monster territory. That old man has a strange temper, but he ought to do me a favor and meet you. I just don't know when he plans to meet you. Tao Master Dreamless continued. Thank you a lot. Jian Wushuang took the token and said appreciatively. You're welcome. Tao Master Dreamless waved his hand casually. By the way, Tao Master Dreamless, I remember you mentioned the Green Fire Palace before. What's that? Jian Wushuang asked again. Green Fire Palace, Tao Master Dreamless had the yearning for it written on his face. He murmured, I just heard about that organization but am not qualified to join it. So, I don't know much about it either. I just know it's the assembly site of top-notch experts in the Green Fire world. It has a high requirement on people who join it. Normally, only when one's strength reaches the Celestial Master level can he receive its invitation. Others who are qualified to join being the rulers of some forces that have power. In other words, 90% of the top-class experts and forces in the entire Green Fire world are its members. The Samsara Temple in the Samsara continent, the few advanced populations here, the Void Temple in the Void continent, and the 4 big countries are all its affiliates. Jian Wushuang was taken aback as he heard all this. As the overlords of 2 continents, the Samsara Temple and the Void Temple are just its members. How terrifying that organization is. Well, what about the Empyrean Patriarch? Jian Wushuang asked with a solemn face. According to what you've said, almost all of the top-class experts in the Green Fire world are its members. Given his strength, he should be able to join it, right? Of course. Tao Master Dreamless nodded. In terms of strength, he's indeed qualified to join the Green Fire Palace, but it's a pity that he's obstinate and unruly. Moreover, he's always overweening. It's said that when he broke through to the Celestial Master level, the Green Fire Palace had invited him, but he directly refused. Refused? Jian Wushuang looked at Tao Master Dreamless, dumbfounded. So many top experts, including the 2 temples, joined the Green Fire Palace. There must be something special about it. But why did Empyrean Patriarch refuse it? That's all I know about the Green Fire Palace. Jian Wushuang, if you want to know more, just practice hard. The Green Fire Palace will invite you after you break through to the Celestial Master level. You'll understand everything then. Tao Master Dreamless said. Chapter 1026, Wrath. Chapter 1026, Wrath. Tao Master Dreamless did not linger here any longer but left soon. While leaving, he warned Jian Wushuang to guard against Empyrean Patriarch. After that, Jian Wushuang called on God Hong. Big Brother Hong, what happened to the Black Python clan? Asked Jian Wushuang. What could they do? God Hong said with a grin. You killed Mo Lin as well as 90% of the experts of that clan. Thus, it is no longer qualified to be called an advanced population. Everyone tends to hit a person when he is down. This clan is doomed to disappear even without my clan taking any actions. It would be a blessing for it if some of its clansmen have escaped. Jian Wushuang agreed with him secretly. He was aware that the battles between different populations on the Samsara continent were unusually crazy and cruel. Without him, the Rock Demon clan would have been exterminated. Chances were that only a few of its clansmen could escape. And thus, he caused the Black Python clan to fall on hard times. Jian Wushuang was quite helpless in this regard. Since the Black Python clan has been wiped out, there should be no population that can threaten the Rock Demon clan on this territory. It's time for me to leave, said Jian Wushuang. You are going to leave? God Hong's expression changed slightly. The 9 sword scars left behind by Sunrise Sword Emperor are not as useful to me as they used to be. Furthermore, I have something else to do. So, I have to depart. Jian Wushuang said smilingly. All right. God Hong said with a nod. Well, what about Empyrean Patriarch? When God Hong was on the battlefield previously, he heard Tao Master Dreamless mention Empyrean Patriarch. He is a threat to me, but he can do nothing to me. Jian Wushuang said with confidence. Great. God Hong sighed with relief. Big Brother Hong, see you then. After giving God Hong some advice, Jian Wushuang bid farewell to him and left. He came to the Rock Demon clan for returning God Hong's favor in the ancient world. He had done what he could and there was no need for him to linger any longer. His next destination was the Divine Monster territory. This was where Elder Ding Mo was at. There existed an enormous but secluded castle that was surrounded by dark airflow hundreds of millions of miles away from the Rock Demon clan in a vast range of mountains. It stood erect over the years, but few people nearby perceived its existence. Out of blue, a terrifying aura emanated from this black castle. This aura spread far and wide along with overwhelming rage and pressure. It influenced untold warriors and some Tao masters in a common population tens of thousands of miles away, resulting them to tremble with fear. All these warriors were in a state of panic. Died? My son Di Yen is dead. A short-haired, lean elder stood in the void above the black castle. The ferocious look in his eyes made him look more arrogant and obstinate. His name, Empyrean Patriarch, terrified all the people on the Samsara continent. At this moment, Empyrean Patriarch was quivering, his eyes blazing with fury. Undisciplined and out of control, he was quite a strange character who always tyrannized other people on the Samsara continent. Moreover, as a member of the Sky-Devouring clan, he had an inborn fondness of his only son and took very good care of him. This was a known fact to all experts and populations on the Samsara continent. Therefore, even though they knew that Di Yen was running amok and had devoured the essence blood of some rare bloodlines, they could only turn a blind eye for fear of provoking Empyrean Patriarch. Everyone there deferred to Empyrean Patriarch. Even if Di Yen had taken too far sometimes and displeased some top experts, they only slightly punished him but did not dare to kill him due to Empyrean Patriarch. That had been the case for years. No one had ever thought that his son would have been killed today. Jian Wushuang, Jian Wushuang. Empyrean Patriarch growled. He was informed of his son's death and the information about the killer at the same time, an expert majored in sword principle named Jian Wushuang. To his surprise, Jian Wushuang was merely at the Eternal Realm. How dare you killed him as you knew his identity? I don't care your identity, your background, and origin. I swear I must kill you. You definitely will come to a tragic end. Where are my 10 protectors? Empyrean Patriarch's roar echoed throughout the world. Whoosh! 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 Quick as a flash, 10 figures flew out of the castle and appeared in front of Empyrean Patriarch. They knelt down before him immediately, paying respects to Ancestor. Their voices were ear-splitting. All of them were powerful Dao Masters and 3 of them were peak rank 3 Dao Masters. Moreover, they were experts who sought refuge with Empyrean Patriarch. Follow me. Empyrean Patriarch waved his sleeve and they set off at once. He went to the Samsara temple to borrow the wormhole. The wormhole would not open to the outside world easily, but the Samsara temple was obliged to give him face given his ferocity. It only took him a few days to arrive at the territory of the Rock Demon clan through the wormhole. Did my son die here? Floating in the void above the Rock Demon clan, Empyrean Patriarch gave off a horrible pressure. It came crushing down upon the members of this clan and subdued them. Wave after wave shrill cries rang out and a large number of its clansmen knelt down under the pressure. Stop! Stop! A voice mixed with shock and anger sounded, and then God Hong arrived here together with some top experts from the Rock Demon clan. As soon as he appeared in the void, he saw Empyrean Patriarch. The latter emanated a horrifying pressure that he could hardly resist. Celestial Master, he is a Celestial Master. God Hong clenched his fists after he figured out the identity of the man in front of him. I'm God Hong, the clan leader of the Rock Demon clan, paying respects to Empyrean Patriarch. God Hong said respectfully. Where is Jian Wushuang? Chapter 1027, Friendly Relations. Chapter 1027, Friendly Relations. Where is Jian Wushuang? Empyrean Patriarch's voice sounded extremely cold. Neither did he care God Hong nor the Rock Demon clan. He only had Jian Wushuang in his mind. Hearing his words, God Hong quivered with fear. But he still answered, Jian Wushuang left here a few days ago. Where did he go? Empyrean Patriarch stared at God Hong. I don't know. God Hong shook his head. You don't know? Empyrean Patriarch said with a rather cold voice. All of a sudden, a terrifying pressure swept toward God Hong. Although God Hong was a rank 3 Dao Master who possessed the bloodline of the Rock Demon Giant and formidable defense capability, he was suppressed by this pressure. Pfft! He directly spat a mouthful of blood and his internal injuries, which had not been completely recovered, were again aggravated. However, he had no time to attend this matter and wiped the blood from his mouth. He said hurriedly, Empyrean Patriarch, I really don't know where he went. Really? Empyrean Patriarch didn't ask any more, but his cold eyes looked at the habitat of the Rock Demon clan below. My son died here. This is his burial place. Thus, there can be no living creatures within a radius of 10,000 miles. Millions of your clansmen must die and be buried with him. Empyrean Patriarch said in a mild tone, which, unexpectedly, contained overwhelming killing intent. The 2 simple sentences sentenced the entire Rock Demon clan to death. After they heard that, the expressions of the 10 protectors behind Empyrean Patriarch turned grim. They all relished slaughtering and had slain a lot of people on the Samsara continent. The reason why they sought refuge with Empyrean Patriarch was that they were pursued by some powerful populations and experts from the Samsara continent. They had no other choice. Hearing that Empyrean Patriarch was going to exterminate the Rock Demon clan, they all got excited. Nevertheless, the expressions of God Hong and other experts from this clan changed sharply. Empyrean Patriarch, there is a special place in our clan and I wish you can follow me and have a look at it. Suddenly, God Hong said seriously. Oh. Empyrean Patriarch's expression slightly altered. At a critical moment when he planned to wipe out the Rock Demon clan, God Hong said he wanted to take him to another place. Did he think that place could change his decision? Empyrean Patriarch, please follow me. God Hong managed to restrain his fear and led Empyrean Patriarch into the territory of his clan. With a mighty strength, Empyrean Patriarch feared nothing. He followed God Hong and arrived at the valley where Jian Wushuang had meditated earlier after a short while. Empyrean Patriarch, look at there. God Hong pointed at the cliff dotted with sword scars. Empyrean Patriarch's eyes swept across the cliff and he noticed the 9 sword scars on it with a glance. Then he started to look through them. When he saw the first sword scar, a trace of disdain flashed past his eyes. And when he glanced over the second sword scar, he was still unimpressed with it. However, a little bit of surprise flashed past his eyes as he observed the third sword scar. When he scanned the fourth, fifth, and sixth sword scars, his face gradually grew solemn. And when he fixed his eyes on the 7th sword scar, a hint of horror could be seen in his eyes. The moment his eyes swept across the 9th sword scar, his heart knocked and eyes popped. What a terrifying sword! He was a man of powerful strength and had experienced a lot. Therefore, he was very clear about the horror of the sword that left the 9th sword scar. That sword was so fast that no one in this world could block its attack, including him. Although there are numerous experts who study sword principle in the entire green fire world, only one is qualified to display such a horrible swordsmanship. The first sword cultivator, Sunrise Sword Emperor. His eyes flickered with cold light. Empyrean Patriarch, I assume you have recognized the owner of the sword scars. God Hong said. So what? Empyrean Patriarch replied in a deep voice. Nothing. I just want you to know that my clan is on friendly terms with the legendary Sunrise Sword Emperor. 20,000 years ago, he passed by and happened to gain insight into sword principle. As a result, he stayed here and meditated in this valley for 2 years. We have provided him everything we could during this period. When he left, he deliberately left these sword scars in our clan. God Hong said calmly, Jian Wushuang is a sword cultivator and he stayed here due to the sword scars. Just at this moment, Di Yan and the Black Python clan invaded here and disturbed him. He then acted and killed them. He did all this for his sake. He knew he killed your son and provoked you. Hence, he left directly regardless of our safety. You mean your clan has nothing to do with this matter? Empyrean Patriarch cast a cold glance at God Hong. Since Di Yan died on our territory, we cannot shrink from the responsibility. I just want to tell you that we are kind of close to Sunrise Sword Emperor but not familiar with Jian Wushuang. His only purpose of staying here is to study the sword scars. God Hong added. Upon hearing this, Empyrean Patriarch narrowed his eyes. He was far from a fool and naturally would not blindly believe what God Hong had said. Given his character, even if God Hong disowned Jian Wushuang, he would exterminate the Rock Demon clan without hesitation. The reason why he didn't take action was that he feared Sunrise Sword Emperor immensely. The sword scars in this valley were definitely left by Sunrise Sword Emperor. He could tell that they actually had existed for 20,000 years from their appearances. The Rock Demon clan, however, had been living here over the past hundreds of thousands of years. God Hong did tell the truth. In other words, the Rock Demon clan did have friendly relations with Sunrise Sword Emperor. This meant he must look before he leapt. Sunrise Sword Emperor. His mind quivered with fear at this name. There were very few people in the entire green fire world that could cause him to fear. But Sunrise Sword Emperor was definitely the one who was able to do so. Chapter 1028, Generosity. Chapter 1028, Generosity. Sunrise Sword Emperor was a myth in the green fire world, a bloody one. Though he became famous later than Empyrean Patriarch, he was far more powerful than him. Most important of all, he was a capricious loner. He killed others to his liking without any scruples at all. Like Samsara Temple Master and Void Temple Master, Empyrean Patriarch admired their strength but did not fear them too much. After all, they were detached and had quite a lot of things to worry about. Thus, They would never kill him unless he crossed the bottom lines of the Green Fire world. But Sunrise Sword Emperor was different. If he destroyed the Rock Demon clan today and annoyed him, it was perfectly possible for him to kill him and leave him no chance to escape. It was Jian Wushuang who killed my son. If I exterminate this population in order to vent my anger but offend Sunrise Sword Emperor, that's definitely not a good thing for me. Empyrean Patriarch murmured and produced a result. Let's go. He waved his hand, turned around, and left. The 10 protectors behind him were greatly surprised at this. They thought that Empyrean Patriarch would eliminate the Rock Demon clan, however. They followed Empyrean Patriarch and did not dare to ask more questions. Empyrean Patriarch, please forgive me for not seeing you out. God Hong and other experts finally sighed with relief after Empyrean Patriarch left. Then, God Hong took out a token. Jian Wushuang, Empyrean Patriarch did cause me trouble and even planned to wipe out my clan personally. But as you told me, I took him to that valley and declared that we have friendly relations with Sunrise Sword Emperor but are unfamiliar with you. He then left directly. God Hong sent out such a message. Jian Wushuang, who still stayed in somewhere in this territory that was even not far from the Rock Demon clan, received this message. A smile crept over the corners of his mouth. It's exactly as I expected. Jian Wushuang laughed gently. He conjectured that given Empyrean Patriarch's character, there was a good chance that he would vent his anger on the Rock Demon clan. So when leaving there, he had a word with God Hong and told him to take Empyrean Patriarch there. This result lived up to his expectations. Though Empyrean Patriarch is intractable, he must fear Sunrise Sword Emperor. He is not so foolish to risk offending Sunrise Sword Emperor in order to eliminate the Rock Demon clan. Jian Wushuang murmured. That's owed to Sunrise Sword Emperor's deterrence. What if Empyrean Patriarch is not afraid of him? What should you do then? Gu King suddenly snorted. Don't think that I don't know you could have left this territory a few days ago, but you choose to stay here. Obviously, you are worried about the Rock Demon clan. If he really attacks that clan, you will immediately show up, right? Hearing this, Jian Wushuang smiled helplessly and did not say much. He did prepare to turn up to divert Empyrean Patriarch's attention if he really attacked the Rock Demon clan. Of course, he would only use his slaughter body and would not be so foolish to put his life in the hands of Empyrean Patriarch. Jian Wushuang, I won't stop you from doing so in the Green Fire world. But I must warn you that you mustn't incur unnecessary trouble and get involved in something that doesn't concern you when you are in the eternal chaotic world. Don't forget how my last master, King Luozhen, died. Gu King said solemnly. I know. Jian Wushuang nodded in agreement. Later, he looked up at the void in front of him. It's time to go to the Divine Monster territory. I have just created the third sword principle, Scarlet Yang sword principle, but I haven't contrived any swordsmanship that matches it. Furthermore, there are also many shortcomings in the ruthlessness that I designed for the coalescence sword principle. I need to study hard. Jian Wushuang finally set off. It was a long way from where he was now to the Divine Monster territory and it would take him a dozen years even if he moved at top speed. Moreover, he would delve into his sword principles and swordsmanships on the trip. Thus, he would spend more time on the journey. He was not in a hurry because he had enough patience. During the stop-and-go journey, he made some progress in sword principles. And in the third year that he left the Rock Demon clan, he received 2 messages in one day. They were from Dragon Wing Governor and Dao Master Dreamless. The contents of the 2 messages were almost the same. Jian Wushuang, Empyrean Patriarch, went mad. He offered a reward of 20 Chaos Gems for capturing you on the entire Samsara continent. Whoever finds your trail and sends him the message will get 20 Chaos Gems. In addition, he deliberately stated that you are at the Eternal Realm but your battle strength reaches the peak of rank 3 Dao Master level. By the way, he told everyone that you are a warrior major in Sword Principle. Presently, All populations on the Samsara continent and some solitary experts went bananas. A lot of people began to track you. Jian Wushuang, you must be very careful. Apart from that, don't act rashly. Once you reveal your battle strength, others can recognize you as easy as pie. Dragon Wing Governor had a good relationship with Jian Wushuang. Moreover, Jian Wushuang saved him, and he appreciated that a lot. And Dao Master Dreamless was a friend of Jian Wushuang. As soon as they knew this, they immediately informed Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was dumbfounded after receiving the news. Offer a reward of 20 chaos gems for capturing me? He looked shocked and could not help but exclaim, how generous he is. That was not exaggerating. Everyone knew that a chaos gem was almost worth the fortune of a rank 3 Dao Master. A peak rank 3 Dao Master possessed 4 to 5 chaos gems at most. However, Empyrean Patriarch took out 20 chaos gems at a time. Furthermore, he did not mean to kill Jian Wushuang with the 20 chaos gems. Whoever informed him Jian Wushuang's trace could obtain them. Jian Wushuang believed once the news spread, there must be numerous experts on the Samsara continent searching for him crazily. Chapter 1029, Divine Monster Territory. Chapter 1029, Divine Monster Territory. As Jian Wushuang expected, the entire Samsara continent was startled by the news. Many populations, including some advanced and top populations, and countless solitary experts, were astounded by that. They could gain 20 chaos gems simply by conveying the trace of a person to Empyrean Patriarch. Even celestial masters were tempted by that. Crazy. Everyone on the entire Samsara continent went crazy. The scene shifted to a dim hall, the secluded headquarters of another powerful force on the Samsara continent. This force specialized in intelligence. A purple-clothed woman looked at the information she just attained with burning eyes. Issue my order immediately, do our utmost to find Jian Wushuang in the shortest possible time. 20 chaos gems. I'll obtain them as long as I track down an easily identified Eternal Realm expert. I must find him as soon as possible. Several black-robed men got together on the top floor of a towering pavilion. The value of 20 chaos gems are almost equal to all the treasures of a celestial master. Empyrean Patriarch is really generous. We've confirmed the news and our priority is to chase down Jian Wushuang quickly. One of the black-robed men said in a deep voice. People in our Divine Shadow Gang are adept at intelligence and only a few forces can rival us on the Samsara continent. It's time to give our capability full play. Jian Wushuang is a young man who is skilled at using the sword. Though he is at the Eternal Realm, he's quite powerful. We must find him before any other forces and populations can. Issue the Red Order and ask everyone to find him. In a top population, an emaciated and glum elder cackled from time to time when he glanced through the information in his hands. I rarely see Empyrean Patriarch fly into a rage. His reaction is reasonable. After all, his precious was killed by someone else. 20 chaos gems. This old man is quite generous in order to avenge his son's death. Ask our men to pay attention to the killer. 20 chaos gems are by no means a small amount of money. They can strengthen our force to some extent. All populations, some top forces, and many solitary experts on the Samsara continent sprang into action immediately. Everyone began to keep an eye on a man at the Eternal Realm who was good at sword principle and powerful than normal rank 3 Dao Masters. Jian Wushuang already speculated that but did not care too much. He still did what he ought to do and continually studied swordsmanships. In fact, he was not so much anxious as happy. That meant he was already famous on the entire Samsara continent. He made a name for himself without doing anything. And if his father was still on the Samsara continent and already a reincarnator above rank 7, he definitely would learn the news. In other words, his father would know that he already came here to find him. Therefore, they could gather together without much effort. Jian Wushuang was more careful when studying sword principles and swordsmanships on the trip. Moreover, he always restrained himself from acting rashly. There was a crowd of Eternal Realm experts who were skilled in sword principle on the Samsara continent. As long as he did not act rashly or expose the strength that far surpassed the supposed strength of Eternal Realm experts, no one would recognize him. But if he did, he would give away his identity. Time flied. It took Jian Wushuang whole 50 years to arrive at the Divine Monster territory, although no accident happened on the trip. Divine Monster territory. Jian Wushuang stood on the top of a mountain and overlooked the vast territory before him with a glimmer of light in his eyes. Unlike other places on the Samsara continent, the Divine Monster territory was more extensive. Most importantly, there existed far more experts. As a piece of the most prosperous and broad territory on the Samsara continent, it was the gathering place for experts and elites on the Samsara continent. The headquarters of the top forces on this continent was in the Divine Monster territory, the same for some top populations. Top populations, Jian Wushuang looked at the star map in his hand and murmured. He knew something about those populations. There were 4 top populations on the Samsara continent, namely the Ancient Monster Clan, the Blood Azura Clan, the Python Clan, and the Blood Phoenix Clan. They were deeply rooted on this continent and were formidable forces that possessed abundant resources. Even the Samsara Temple did not dare to act recklessly on matters concerning them. The reason they became top populations was that they possessed at least one celestial master. I have achieved great progress in sword principles and swordsmanships over the past 50 years. In addition, my ancient god power improved drastically because I have swallowed the Chaos Gold Bead. Jian Wushuang muttered. Since the Chaos Gold Bead was a very rare treasure, it would inevitably help him to improve his ancient god power very quickly. Over the years, my ancient god power has reached a new level, although it's far from reaching the 3-star peak. My strength has increased by leaps and bounds as well. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists. However, there are innumerable experts in the Divine Monster territory and I'm threatened by Empyrean Patriarch, so I still have to keep a low profile. First, I got to find Ding Mo, the elder that Tao Master Dreamless introduced to me. Jian Wushuang moved forward and entered the Divine Monster territory. It was dotted with numerous large cities and there existed one city named Emperor Heart City. And that was where Ding Mo was at. He not only lived in this city, but he was also the governor. He established a large-scale team of guards with a number of Tao masters. Not to mention his identity in the Samsara Temple, his strength alone was equivalent to that of an advanced population. His name is Jian Nantian. He became the reincarnator in the ancient world 2,000 years ago. Jian Wushuang replied hurriedly. Fine. I'll check it for you immediately, but it will take about half a month. Ding Mo said. Half a month? Why will it take so long? Jian Wushuang frowned. Ding Mo glanced at Jian Wushuang and said, Tao Master Dreamless told me that you have asked a gold-clothed deacon to look up the information about your relative, right? Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded heavily. If I am right, did that gold-clothed deacon reply you soon? Ding Mo looked at Jian Wushuang smilingly. Yes, he provided me with the result in 3 days. Jian Wushuang replied. Ha, I knew it. Ding Mo laughed. Tao Master Dreamless told me the things happened between you and that gold-clothed deacon. The gold-clothed deacon went through the motions just in order to acquire your reward. Went through the motions? Jian Wushuang's face fell. Did Jin Yu never look it up for me? I didn't mean that. Ding Mo shook his head. He checked the information simply according to the name you gave him and replied you after he failed to find your relative's name. In fact, in the Samsara temple, reincarnators usually take code names for the sake of convenience and concealment. Their code names are a must if anyone wants to look up their information. Their real names are ignored instead. So, if Jinyu really wanted to aid you, he would look up the information according to your relative's origin and the time he has become a reincarnator. Only in this way can he receive an exact result. Oh. Jian Wushuang replied in shock. Jian Wushuang, since you are introduced by Tao Master Dreamless and I admire your talent and composure, I will wholeheartedly find out the whereabouts of your loved one for you. Therefore, it will take more time to do that. You should know that I've tried my best to shorten the time to half a month. Ding Mo said. Many thanks to Elder Ding Mo for doing all this for me. Jian Wushuang said sincerely. Nothing. If you have nothing to do during this period, just stay here temporarily. I'll inform you of the result half a month later. Ding Mo waved his hand and then left with a quick move. Jian Wushuang alone stood there and clenched his fists. What Ding Mo just said thrilled him. According to what Elder Ding Mo has said, Jin you just checked the information of reincarnators perfunctorily. That means chances are that my father is a reincarnator below rank 7 and Jin you just failed to find him. So my father is probably alive. Chapter 1031, It's Him. Chapter 1031, It's Him. Jian Wushuang lived in Ding Mo's mansion to wait for the result. 5 days passed in the twinkling of an eye. Jian Wushuang alone practiced his swordsmanship in an empty courtyard. Buzz! A splendid sword shadow pierced the void easily and disappeared from the void quickly, leaving an opening on space. It was so fast that it could not be caught by the naked eye. This sword movement proved to be the death shadow. Jian Wushuang stopped after performing this sword movement. This move is getting more and more powerful. Jian Wushuang murmured smilingly. He had been meditating swordsmanship and sword principle these years. As a result, his sword principle was greatly improved and the power of his swordsmanship elevated. Though his Aurora sword principle was still at the general level, it was not far from reaching the universe level. Moreover, his coalescence sword principle. He had been trying to integrate more sword principles into it. Currently, he had integrated 8 sword principles from the mysterious scroll into it and combined 8 different essences together. Until now, the coalescence sword principle barely became an earth-level sword principle. He had created 2 universe-level sword principles and a general-level sword principle presently. The more powerful the sword principle one created, the more beneficial it would be on elevating one's strength. It's easy to create universe-level sword principles, but it will be quite difficult to upgrade them to the creation level. I cannot imagine how long will it take to make them the most powerful sword principles. Jian Wushuang muttered. His goal was to make them the most powerful sword principles. Although he had created 3 sword principles, there was still a long way for him to go. Right at this moment, several figures suddenly flew upward from the mansion. They proved to be Ding Mo and several experts under his command. They appeared in the void above the mansion and looked into the distance, as if they were waiting for someone. Who is able to make Elder Ding Mo welcome him personally? Jian Wushuang was surprised. As the inner elder of the Samsara temple, Ding Mo enjoyed a high status and was absolutely qualified to be called an overlord on the Samsara continent. Thus, the people he was waiting for must be very eminent. In just a few seconds, 3 figures came here one after another. All of them exuded an overwhelming aura. Apparently, they were rank 3 Tao Masters. The 2 men standing beside a striking young man dressed in a golden robe were genuine experts at the peak of rank 3. The young man always wore a smile and appeared gentle and cultivated. The most striking part was his midbrow. There existed a vertical scarlet mark, a sword scar. Seeing them, Ding Mo and others experts greeted them immediately. In the courtyard, Jian Wushuang stared at that golden-robed man. He was very familiar with that man. His face had appeared in his mind more than once. After so many years, he finally saw him again. It's him. It's him. Jian Wushuang roared in his heart and his eyes became sharper than ever at this moment. Jian Wushuang, do you know him? Gu Qing's surprised voice sounded in Jian Wushuang's heart. Yes, of course. Jian Wushuang's cold voice filled with tremendous killing intent. Jian Wushuang soon regained his composure and simultaneously looked away. That elegant man was talking with Ding Imo at this point, so he did not notice Jian Wushuang. Led by Ding Imo, he entered the meeting hall at the center of the governor mansion. Jian Wushuang instantly went to find an expert living in the governor mansion. Ding Imo possessed many powerful guards whose commanders were real Dao masters. Some commanders lived in the governor mansion. Commander Su. Jian Wushuang came to a commander surnamed Su. Blood Mountain, my brother, what's up? Commander Su was quite polite to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang used the alias Blood Mountain when he lived in the governor mansion. Commander Su had met him and knew that he was Ding Mo's guest. The one being able to be Ding Mo's guest definitely had an extraordinary background, so even if he was aware that Jian Wushuang was just an Eternal Realm expert, he did not dare to put on airs. Nothing. I am just curious why Elder Ding Imo greeted the three people who have just arrived personally. I speculate that they must be out of the ordinary. Jian Wushuang seemed to ask casually. They? Commander Su raised his eyebrows and laughed. Of course. They are from the Ancient Monster Clan. The Ancient Monster Clan? Jian Wushuang's heart throbbed. The Ancient Monster Clan was one of the 4 top populations. It turns out that they are experts from a top population. Jian Wushuang pretended to sigh with emotion. Ha, our master would not have welcomed them in person just due to that reason. What matters the most is the man standing in the middle, the Dao Master Nine Sword. Although his strength is inferior to that of the other 2 men, he enjoys quite a high status in the Ancient Monster Clan. The 2 Dao Masters behind him were sent to protect him by the Ancient Monster Clan. Commander Su said. Dao Master Nine Sword. Jian Wushuang's eyes narrowed. Is he very powerful? I don't know. I only know he is well known in the Divine Monster territory. It's said that the Ancient Monster Clan regards him as a treasure. But I cannot figure out what's so special about him. If you're curious about him, you can go to any intelligence organization to acquire his information. Commander Su said. I see. Jian Wushuang nodded. Thank you, Commander Su. After that, he turned around and left. According to what Commander Su had said, he left the governor mansion and found a store that sold intelligence in the city. Soon afterwards, he obtained detailed information about the Ancient Monster Clan and Dao Master Nine Sword. Then he returned to the governor mansion, closed the door, and leafed through the information alone. His pupils shrank and some cold light flickered in his eyes after he glanced over the information about the Ancient Monster Clan. As I expected. The Ancient Monster Clan is the population with the bloodline of the ancient god. Jiu Xiu, no, Dao Master Nine Sword, after 2,000 years, we finally meet again. Chapter 1032, Ancient Monster Clan and Dao Master Nine Sword. Chapter 1032, Ancient Monster Clan and Dao Master Nine Sword. Jiu Xiu. Jian Wushuang could feel his heart brimming with killing intent upon thinking about the name. It was him who had kidnapped his mother and snatched his father's sword soul in the ancient world previously. The fiend had even destroyed the Ji clan personally. Jian Wushuang had seen Jiu Xiu before. Of course, at that time, the latter was only a wisp of consciousness that had possessed a puppet fighter. After the incident, Jian Wushuang and his father climbed their way to the summit of the ancient world, but neither of them knew that Jiu Xiu had brought Jian Wushuang's mother back to the ancient world long ago. His father, Jian Nantian, had decided to make the irreversible decision to become a reincarnator once he knew about it. As such, if it were not for Zhou Xiu, many things would not have happened. Jian Wushuang felt an unprecedented hatred toward Zhou Xiu. Now, after 2,000 years, he finally got to meet Zhou Xiu again. It's him, everything happened because of him. Jian Wushuang thought, his gaze turning icy cold. If it weren't for him, my father would never have taken the risk of becoming a reincarnator, and he would have been reunited with my mother a long time ago. They would not have been separated for so long until now. There's also the issue of the Ji clan. They were exterminated because of Zhou Xiu's doing. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists tightly. He wished he could torture Zhou Xiu slowly, but his enemy's current status amazed him. Not only did Zhou Xiu have the power of a rank 3 Dao Master, but he also had a huge standing in the ancient monster clan. He had 2 peak rank 3 experts serving as his guards. It was a privilege few in the ancient monster clan enjoyed. Ancient monster clan. Jian Wushuang finished reading his research material. He now had a certain knowledge of the clan. Not only was the ancient monster clan one of the top clans, but it was also arguably the strongest clan out of the 4 top clans. Their people even had 2 types of bloodlines. The first bloodline was that of the ancient gods. As for the second, it was that of the heavenly monsters. The ancient monster clan is extraordinary, Gu Qing's voice rang in Jian Wushuang's mind. Needless to say, the ancient gods were at the apex of the eternal chaotic world, and their bloodline was extremely precious and dominant. As for the heavenly demons, they were also extremely famous, and even though they were somewhat weaker than the ancient gods, the difference between both lineages was not too great. It was extremely rare to have any one of these 2 bloodlines, so it's very strange for the ancient monster clan to possess both. Jian Wushuang's expression was extremely serious as he listened. He had been mired in doubt as to how he came to possess the bloodline of the ancient gods, but everything was clear to him now. Perhaps, my mother is from the ancient monster clan, Jian Wushuang thought. The combined might of the ancient monster clan was extremely great because of the fact that it possessed the 2 great bloodlines. There were already 3 celestial masters and countless strong Dao masters within the clan. It possessed so much strength that even the Samsara temple dared not take it lightly. As for Zhou Xiu, the Dao Master 9 Sword, he seemed to have been treated by the clan as a precious treasure because he had awoken an extremely rare bloodline. That said, if my mother was really from the ancient monster clan, why would she go to the ancient world? And that Zhou Xiu, said Jian Wushuang as he frowned. To that, Jian Wushuang, I might know of a possibility, replied Gu Qing. What possibility? Asked Jian Wushuang. Reincarnation. Gu Qing replied, his tone solemn. What? Jian Wushuang exclaimed as his eyes opened wide. Reincarnation, he thought. What reincarnation is he referring to? Could it be that kind that means one gets reborn into the world after death? In the eternal chaotic world, one could get reborn and get a chance to cultivate again. If your mother really awoke the heavenly monster bloodline, there's a high possibility that reincarnation was involved, said Gu Qing. Jian Wushuang winced as he heard the words of Gu Qing. He was experiencing huge emotional upheaval. Reincarnation. It was the first time he had heard the term, and it made him feel extremely alarmed. That said, aside from his alarm, he came to understand many more things. I understand now, I understand everything now. Jian Wushuang let out a stream of air lightly. He began to understand that many of his deductions were true. It's a pity that even though this material is extremely detailed, it did not mention anything about my mother, Jian Wushuang said, shaking his head as he held the documents. Now that he had discovered the whereabouts of Zhou Xiu, he wanted to find an opportunity to kill him, but the more pressing matter was to find out where his mother was. To find out where my mother is currently, I have to act from Zhou Xiu, Jian Wushuang proclaimed, a murderous gaze in his eyes. What are you planning to do, Jian Wushuang? Gu King's voice rang out again. Don't forget, there are 2 Dao masters at the peak of rank 3 by his side. You have basically not much hope of making a move against Zhou Xiu under their watchful eyes. I know that, Jian Wushuang replied as he nodded slightly. He understood that it would not be easy to get to Zhou Xiu. After all, he did not merely wish to defeat or even kill Zhou Xiu, he wanted to capture his enemy alive or subdue him so that he could interrogate him. Capturing him alive will be much harder than defeating or killing him outright. Putting the interference from the 2 Dao masters aside, I don't even have much confidence of subduing Zhou Xiu in a head-on contest. Furthermore, Empyrean Patriarch has placed a bounty of 20 chaos gems on my head. If I were to remain in hiding, no one would be able to identify me, but if I move against Zhou Xiu, my identity will be exposed and there will be even more trouble when Empyrean Patriarch comes chasing after me, he thought. Even though the path ahead is fraught with obstacles, it's the only way if I want to find out where my mother is, exclaimed Jian Wushuang in a low tone. From the research material, Jian Wushuang gathered that Zhou Xiu could normally be found in the den of the ancient monster clan. He seldom showed himself and ventured out even less often. This time, he was making a rare trip away from home and would return to the ancient monster clan after he was done dealing his affairs. If Jian Wushuang missed this chance, it would be much harder for him to harm Zhou Xiu again. I don't know how long I'll have to wait for another chance. Therefore, I have to give it a shot no matter how hard or risky it'll be, said Jian Wushuang, a resolute gaze in his eyes. Evidently, he had already made up his mind. Since you've already decided, I shall not stop you. Before you strike, however, you should plan in detail. You shouldn't act unless you're sure, but once you do, make sure you hit your target. Also, your plan should also allow you to retreat in one piece, suggested Gu King solemnly. I understand, nodded Jian Wushuang. There are 2 Dao masters at peak rank 3 with Zhou Xiu, and there's not much chance of success if I act alone. I can, however, get more help. Even though no one in the Samsara continent will offend the ancient monster clan simply, if I offer a huge reward, some people will be willing to help me. Take for instance, Blood Saber. Chapter 1033, The Blood Saber Organization. Chapter 1033, The Blood Saber Organization. There was a rundown shop in an isolated corner of the Emperor Heart City. There was usually no customers at the shop, and if it were not for Commander Su's directions, Jian Wushuang would not have known about its existence. A man dressed in blood-red robes, wearing a blood-colored wicked-looking mask and carrying a saber strode into the shop. Are you looking for anything, sir? Asked a skinny elder sitting at the shop counter as he peered over. I'm looking for Blood Saber, said the man in the blood-red mask. The old man's lips formed into a slight smile as he heard the visitor's words. Please follow me. Under the skinny elder's guidance, Jian Wushuang came to a dimly lit secret chamber after a short while. He found a spot to sit and lifted his head toward the old man. I heard that your Blood Saber organization is the strongest faction of killers in the Samsara continent, and that you people will accept any sort of task. The Blood Saber organization's reputation in the Samsara continent was indeed formidable, and its methods were also extremely effective. It was said that the organization had even attempted to assassinate a Celestial Master, and even though the mission failed, the Celestial Master was heavily wounded and paid a heavy price. You're exaggerating, sir. Even though we may be reputable, it's not true that we'll accept any task. We will definitely not accept requests such as the assassination of the Samsara Temple Master or killing the Celestial Masters at the apex of our world, such as Empyrean Patriarch or the rulers of the 4 top clans, the old man replied with a laugh. Of course, other than such tasks, our organization will accept any request for the right price. The person I want to move against may not be a monster just below the Celestial Master level, but he's involved with the Ancient Monster Clan, one of the 4 top clans, said Jian Wushuang nonchalantly. The Ancient Monster Clan, said the old man as he frowned slightly at first, but reverted to his usual self shortly after. Even though they are strong, if we kill one or two of them, it's no cause for them to turn against us completely. That said, may I know who your target is, sir? Dao Master Nine Sword, replied Jian Wushuang directly. The old man's expression immediately changed. If it were just an ordinary member of the ancient monster clan, will not be afraid, even if the target was an extremely strong Dao Master or a Dao Master at the peak rank 3. As for Dao Master Nine Sword, the old man thought. I know how important he is to the ancient monster clan, he's practically their treasure. If he dies, it's possible that they could go crazy seeking revenge. So, you can't accept the job? Jian Wushuang said, having seen through the old man's thoughts. It's not that we won't accept the job, but it's because Dao Master Nine Sword holds an extremely peculiar position in the ancient monster clan. If we get involved in his business, it'll lead to a whole string of events. Even if we're the Blood Saber organization, we can't afford to take it lightly. Of course, the most important thing is, will you be able to afford the adequate payment for this job, sir? The skinny elder asked. What is the reward expected? Questioned Jian Wushuang. 30 chaos gems, replied the skinny elder. It was an amount equivalent to all the assets of a celestial master. The bounty of 20 chaos gems placed on Jian Wushuang's head after he killed Empyrean Patriarch's son had already sent shockwaves throughout the entire Samsara continent, and many factions and clans were eyeing the reward. The price requested by the old man was 10 chaos gems more than that. It was indeed a sky-high price. I don't need your organization to kill Dao Master Nine Sword. I just need you to hold off the 2 Dao Masters by his side who are at peak rank 3 and not give them a chance to strike. As for Dao Master Nine Sword, I'll find someone else to attack him, said Jian Wushuang. Dao Master Nine Sword is not that powerful himself, but of huge importance. It doesn't matter if the Blood Saber organization assassinates him or helps someone to act against him, it'll offend the ancient monster clan greatly. They're offenses of the same nature in their eyes. As such, even if it's just to dispatch an expert to aid you, it'll still cost you 28 chaos gems. There's no bargaining about that, replied the skinny elder in a low tone. 28 chaos gems? Asked Jian Wushuang as his emotions stirred. He was in possession of the many treasures left behind by Dao Yuanzi. Dao Yuanzi was an expert from the eternal chaotic world and had many assets. He had 300 chaos gems in total. Even though it was a huge amount, and the 28 chaos gems requested by the old man was not too many, Jian Wushuang still felt heartache as he knew the value of these gems. That said, if he wanted to go after Zhou Xiu, he had to pay the price. After all, other than the Blood Saber organization, he could not find anyone else to help him. He did not have many close contacts in the Samsara continent, and even Dao Master Dreamless, with whom he was acquainted with, would not want to go against the ancient monster clan on Jian Wushuang's behalf. Take these 10 chaos gems as the deposit. After the deed is done, I'll pay you the remaining 18 gems, said Jian Wushuang as he drew out 10 chaos gems with a wave of his hand. The skinny elder's eyes brightened up uncontrollably upon seeing the gems. I'll assign some experts to the task immediately, he kept replying after receiving his deposit. You have to act fast. If Dao Master Nine Sword returns back to the ancient monster clan, or if you let the opportunity to strike him slip from our hands, this deal will be off, said Jian Wushuang. Rest assured. I've received the information that Dao Master Nine Sword's coming to the Emperor Heart City, as he has some matters that require the assistance of Elder Ding Mo. He should be staying in the city for a few days, and our organization can dispatch our experts within 2 days. We'll definitely be in time, replied the old man. That's good, replied Jian Wushuang as he nodded slightly. The skinny elder began to make preparations shortly after. As the top organization of killers in the Samsara continent, the Blood Saber organization was indeed efficient. Before 2 days were up, the skinny elder had brought 2 people to Jian Wushuang. Sir, let me introduce you to Army Saber and Rakshasa. They are famous blood moon level killers in our organization, said the skinny elder with a laugh. Jian Wushuang measured the two killers standing before him. They were a man and a woman respectively. The man wore a cold expression and there was an ugly sword scar on his face. He hugged his arms together, his gaze totally devoid of expression. The girl, on the other hand, was a lovely-looking teenage girl. She even wore a smile on her face and gave off the feeling that she was a pitiful young lady, but Jian Wushuang could sense a deadliness residing in the deepest spots of her jet-black pupils. Army Saber and Rakshasa? Asked Jian Wushuang, secretly approving of the two killers. After he decided to seek for the Blood Saber organization's assistance, Jian Wushuang had gathered some intelligence on the group. The two killers before him were among the most infamous of its killers. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.